Chapter 1496. The Dragon Races Forbidden Land. Within the draconic mystic realm, the black demon stood quietly in the dark space and looked around. His face was full of vicissitudes. "Hey Mo, I want to ask you for a favor in 3 years." Hey Mo was surprised to see Master God Diviner appear in front of him. He didn't know what Master God Diviner would ask of him. "Tell me." Hey Mo didn't immediately refuse. If he had broken the seal and reached his peak, he might have ignored Master God Diviner. But now, he didn't have that ability. 3 years from now, the weak space will be damaged. If we can't fix it, the Martial Heaven continent will be destroyed. So it was this. Hey Mo smiled. "Master God Diviner, I'm very curious. What does the Martial Heaven continent being in danger have to do with me?" Before Master God Diviner could reply, Hey Mo continued. "Master God Diviner, I believe you know that once the weak space opens, it might not be a bad thing for me." Master God Diviner didn't show the slightest anger. "Hey Mo, you're right. Once the weak space opens, it might not be a bad thing for you. But you have to remember that once your whereabouts are discovered, anyone can easily devour you. At that time, I won't do anything." Black Demon's face turned gloomy when he heard the godly mathematician's words. "Master God Diviner, are you threatening me? So what if I'm threatening you?" Hey Mo's expression grew darker and darker. Master God Diviner truly did have the ability to threaten him. With Master God Diviner's strength and his current situation, he could devour him in a matter of minutes. "What do you want me to do?" In the end, Hey Mo chose to compromise. If this matter turned sour, it wouldn't benefit him in the slightest. Hey Mo was a smart person. He wouldn't casually put himself in a situation where he couldn't recover. "It's very simple. 3 years from now, you'll enter the weak space with me. No matter what, you have to stabilize it. Once the seal opens, it won't benefit anyone, including you and me. I promise you." Hey Mo suddenly thought of something and said, "Master God Diviner, is Longao one of your candidates?" Master God Diviner didn't hide anything. He nodded. "According to my senses, if I'm not wrong, he should be the reincarnation of an expert." He turned around abruptly. The God Diviner's eyes lit up as he asked, "How did you know?" The godly mathematician was well aware of what it meant to return to the clan. "Master God Diviner, when Longao came here, I saw him." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure, so according to my guess, Longao should be that person's reincarnation. However, whether or not he has the qualifications to inherit the legacy will depend on Longao's luck." Master God Diviner knew that Black Devil had no reason to lie to him. "Clairvoyant, what are you going to do?" "I don't know." He didn't know? Black Demon was stunned for a moment before he let out a deep sigh. The Lun clan was the most powerful clan in the world. Countless years ago, the Lun clan suddenly disappeared. As for the reason for their disappearance, no one knew. "Black Demon, the matter of returning to the clan can be big or small. You should be very clear about it. Don't mention this to anyone." Not giving Black Demon any chance to speak, the godly mathematician's figure suddenly disappeared. Outer Sea. In the Crystal Palace. Master God Diviner quietly sat in the Crystal Palace, lost in thought. The God Diviner had never imagined that Longao had come from the Lun clan. A tiny continent like the Martial Heaven continent actually had a reincarnated expert from the Lun clan. If the Black Devil hadn't personally said it, the God Diviner would never have believed it. "Longao, I hope you are the greatest variable. Otherwise, you won't even have the chance to reincarnate." Purple lightning space. Longao icily looked at the mountain-cleaving bull. If the enemy didn't move, he wouldn't move. After all, he didn't have the slightest confidence in being able to defeat this bull. The mountain-cleaving bull was too powerful, and it also had the ability to lock down space. "Brat, seeing that you're not bad, I'll let you off. Go back the way you came, or you'll die." Go back the way he came? Could he really go back the way he came? The reason he had entered the purple lightning space was to prove to Yi Tianhua and the others that although he had become friends with the Purple Lightning Patriarch and their enmity had been written off, the Purple Lightning sect didn't belong to the Purple Lightning Patriarch alone. Furthermore, according to the Purple Lightning Patriarch, if he could smoothly reach the Purple Lightning Lake, it would be a great help to his cultivation base. Senior, please advise me. All right. The mountain-cleaving bull seemed to like Longao a lot. Otherwise, it wouldn't have tried to persuade him to leave. In the end, the mountain-cleaving bull had taken a fancy to Longao's innate divine ability, Dragon Roar. The moment the Dragon Roar rang out, the surrounding space was locked down. The mountain-cleaving savage bull didn't care at all, because the opponent's innate ability was just child's play in front of its spatial shackles. However, the mountain-cleaving savage bull wanted to see if this human had any other abilities. Time Shirkill technique. He had to go all out. At the last moment, Longao decided to use his Shirkill technique, time reversal and time advance. One after the other, Longao's speed had increased by 3 times while the mountain-cleaving bull's speed had decreased by 3 times. What kind of concept was that? If Longao had been prepared due to the difference in their realms, once he used his Shirkill technique, it was very likely he would have been devoured. However, the mountain-cleaving bull was the same as everyone else. It had never imagined that Longao could change the flow of time. No one in the martial heaven continent possessed this kind of time martial skill. Even the heavenly Taoists didn't know if they possessed it. Time martial skill? However, it was already too late for the mountain-cleaving bull to react. Longao didn't plan to fight the mountain-cleaving bull head-on. After all, the gap between their realms couldn't be bridged by other things. Moreover, he didn't want to fight to the death with the mountain-cleaving bull. Using his Shirkill technique, Longao's speed soared to the extreme. After a few spatial teleportations, Longao had already shaken off the mountain-cleaving bull. His figure flickered and disappeared without a trace. The mountain-cleaving barbaric bull didn't give chase. Based on the mountain-cleaving barbaric bull's speed and spatial imprisonment, if it insisted on giving chase, no one could say for sure whether Longao would be able to leave. However, it didn't chase. In truth, in its eyes, it also didn't want to kill Longao. Otherwise, why wouldn't it attack when it had so many opportunities? The mountain-cleaving bull was pleasantly surprised that it had an innate divine ability. If it hadn't become a divine beast of the Violet Thunder sect, it would have very likely left with Longao. Longao would never have thought that the reason he had been able to escape this calamity was because of his innate divine ability. Author's note: the 8th chapter has been delivered. My cold is a bit serious. I clench my teeth and persevere. My speed is a bit slow. Everyone, please forgive me. Chapter 1497. Many thanks, Senior. Longao's voice came from afar. Stinking brat. Shaking his head helplessly, the mountain-cleaving bull's expression changed and he reached out to receive the bottle. Dragon blood! Looking at the bottle of dragon blood in his hand, the mountain-cleaving bull was astonished. He never thought that Qin Lai would give him a bottle of dragon blood. But after thinking about it, he was relieved. Qin Lai had an innate ability. Without a doubt, he must be a disciple of a Long family. The mountain-cleaving bull couldn't understand. This was the Purple Thunder sect. Why would a disciple of a Long family appear here? The Purple Thunder sect and Long family were both part of the 10 factions. Even if the 2 factions didn't fight to the death, they wouldn't be on such good terms. Ordinary disciples of the Purple Thunder sect couldn't even enter the Purple Thunder space, not to mention outsiders. There was no need to worry about these things. The mountain-cleaving bull was very clear what this bottle of dragon blood meant to him. Smoothly leaving the swamp, Longao let out a long sigh of relief. Just as he left the swamp, Longao stepped into a valley. Before Longao could react, an endless amount of heaven and earth pressure pressed down on him from all directions. In the Purple Thunder space, unless one was a Nirvana realm cultivator, no one could enter the Purple Thunder Lake. The reason was simple. The suppression of heaven and earth pressure was the second trial of the Purple Thunder space. Others might fear the heaven and earth pressure, but Longao didn't. Longao had already condensed the heaven and earth pressure. he could choose to ignore it. The heaven and earth pressure circulated, but Longao was like a mountain, motionless. I've already passed 2 trials, 3 more and I'll be able to reach the Purple Thunder Lake. The 5 trials of the Purple Thunder Space had to be smoothly passed before one could reach the Purple Thunder Lake. Without staying in the valley any longer, Longao took a big stride and left directly. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. The 3rd trial of the Purple Thunder Space, Life and Death Bridge. 2 bridges appeared in front of Longao. One was completely white, and the other was completely black. The white bridge was the Life Bridge, and the black bridge was the Death Bridge. As the name implied, it was the Life and Death Bridge. Entering the Purple Thunder Space this time, the Purple Thunder Ancestor didn't warn him. As for whether he should choose the Life Bridge or Death Bridge, he didn't know. At this moment of life and death, "Big brother, if you want to pass smoothly, then choose the Life Bridge. With your strength, there won't be any problems." Hearing Long Ming's words, Longao was very curious. What did Long Ming mean by that? "Long Ming, where's the Bridge of Death?" "Dead Bridge." Long Ming looked like he wanted to say something but hesitated, which made Longao feel extremely pained. "Long Ming, speak." "Big brother, the Life and Death Bridge. I can sense a terrifying aura from the Death Bridge. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a powerful black divine beast in the Death Bridge. As for the rest, I don't know. If Big Brother enters it, he will most likely die." If that was the case, there was no doubt that he would choose the Life Bridge and not the Death Bridge. Could there be something fishy about Long Ming acting like this? "Long Ming, you and I are brothers. If you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to beat around the bush. Big brother, although the Bridge of Death is fraught with danger, it's also filled with fortuitous encounters. Big brother, your cultivation has already reached peak God King. If you don't encounter any fortuitous encounters, who knows how long it'll take for you to break through normally?" Longao already knew what Long Ming meant. Just like what Long Ming said, he had already broken through to the God King realm. If he wanted to break through the bottleneck and reach the God Emperor realm, who knew how long it'd take? Entering the Purple Lightning Space this time, other than turning hostility into friendship with the Purple Thunder sect, the most important thing was to obtain fortuitous encounters and break through to the God Emperor realm. The Life and Death Bridge was a choice between life and death. Should he choose the Life Bridge or the Death Bridge? Long Ming had already said that the Life Bridge was easy to cross. Although the Death Bridge was fraught with danger, there were endless fortuitous encounters. "Big brother, what's your choice?" "Death Bridge." "Big brother, I've already decided." Longao was very clear that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world, and there was no such thing as a pie falling from the sky. If he wanted to quickly break through his cultivation, then danger was unavoidable. In a year's time, even if he couldn't break through to the Nirvana realm, he had to reach peak God Emperor realm. Only then would he have the strength to protect himself. The Death Bridge was his chance, he couldn't let it go. Long Ming wasn't surprised because he had already guessed that his big brother would make such a choice. He was very clear about his big brother's character. Once he decided on something, he wouldn't change his mind under normal circumstances. Since he had already made his decision, Longao didn't continue to hesitate. With one step, Longao had already arrived on the Death Bridge. He took one step after another, and each step was very careful. He was very alert. The entire Death Bridge was not too long. After walking for a few hundred steps, he had already arrived on the other side. The entire space was pitch black. If an ordinary person entered, they wouldn't be able to see clearly. Chapter 1498. The black light was extremely powerful. Even though Longao had the black tortoise armor to protect his body, he was hit by the black light continuously and was forced to retreat. The black light was too dense, and there was nowhere to hide even if he tried to dodge. The dragon seal space was gone. Was he going to die this time? Longao would not give up easily until the last moment. He had no choice. Longao finally chose to use the firmament devouring skill because there would only be one result if he fought with the black light head-on, and that was to be killed by the black light. The only way was to devour the black light. As for the consequences, Longao couldn't care less at this moment. Firmament devouring skill. A huge black vortex suddenly appeared behind Longao and began to devour the black light around him at a faster and faster speed. Gradually, Longao's body was completely shrouded by the black light, and a huge black tornado appeared, engulfing the entire dark space. Ah! Longao roared in pain. Even if he wanted to stop the devouring, it was too late. Kid, guard your origin and transfer the dark force to the little guy. Long Fu was not around. Xiling was not around either. Longao was in danger at this moment. Once the black light completely occupied Longao's body, it would be the time of his death. At this critical moment, the mysterious young man's voice suddenly sounded. Longao's mind was clear and he did not dare to be careless. He immediately followed the mysterious young man's method and slowly guided the black light to Long Ming. Longao had already guessed the mysterious young man's intention. Long Ming's physique belonged to the dark physique. If he devoured the black light, there might be unexpected results. The black light around him seemed to be endless as it entered Longao's body crazily. There was no need for Longao to devour it. Wave after wave, it was continuous. Long Ming also knew the seriousness of the matter. Whether the black light was useful to him or not, Long Ming had already decided to accept it immediately. Just like that. Longao's speed of transferring the black light was getting faster and faster. It was simply reaching the limit. 6 hours later, the surrounding dark light slowly stopped. Longao sat on the ground and let out a long sigh of relief. He did not dare to be careless. He immediately summoned Long Ming and asked impatiently, "Long Ming, how do you feel?" "I feel great." "Feeling great?" Hearing Long Ming's words, Longao was a little surprised. It seemed that Long Ming didn't suffer any backlash from devouring the light of darkness. Instead, there were great benefits. "Big brother, you don't have to worry about me. After devouring the light of darkness, if nothing unexpected happens, my cultivation will increase greatly." "All right." After returning Long Ming to his arm, Longao stood up with difficulty. He had been circulating the firmament devouring art continuously for 6 hours. If he continued like this, he would probably die from exhaustion. "Longao, come in." Inside the wordless heavenly book. "Thank you, Senior." No matter who the mysterious young man was or what his motive was, it was all thanks to the mysterious young man this time. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Longao, you are too reckless. Although you want to break through your cultivation base quickly, the bridge of life and death is the only way for you to die." Longao didn't say anything. Even now, Longao didn't regret his choice in the slightest. The life and death bridge, life and death were vast. According to Long Ming, once he chose the life bridge, the probability of passing it smoothly was very high. It was almost 100%. As for the death bridge, although it was full of danger, there were endless opportunities. Longao always remembered the 1-year agreement with the 3 superforces. It was because of this that he had to improve his strength as much as possible. Even if he couldn't reach the Nirvana realm, he had to reach the so-called peak Emperor God realm at the very least. So, Longao chose the death bridge instead of the life bridge. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, the mysterious young man said with a smile, "Although it is a dead end, I admire your courage and choice. You don't have such courage." At this point, the mysterious young man did not continue. The mysterious young man did not speak. Longao did not speak either. In an instant, the space fell into silence. Time passed by slowly. After an unknown period of time, "Longao, as my reincarnation, you have to rely on yourself to inherit my legacy. To tell you the truth, you have not passed my test. Once you fail the test, you will disappear." Longao was not surprised because until now, he was not sure whether he was the reincarnation of the mysterious young man or not. After all, he could not just listen to the mysterious young man's side of the story. Longao, no matter when, I won't make a move. Consider yourself lucky this time. Your little guy belongs to the dark physique and can save your life. However, I still have to remind you that it's good to have courage, but you also have to know your own limits. Otherwise, your courage can only be an impulsive performance. Go, I am looking forward to your growth. Remember, you only have 3 years. Another 3 years? The marvelous mathematician had asked him to go to the weak space in 3 years. The mysterious young man told him that he only had 3 years. 3 years, 3 years. Was there any relationship between the 3 years? Longao did not continue to dwell on this question. He knew that he was still in the death bridge of the violet lightning space. Not only Long Ming, but even the mysterious young man had said so. It seemed that the death bridge was very dangerous. If he was not careful, he would fall into eternal damnation. After leaving the space of the wordless heavenly book, Longao looked around and found that the dark light had disappeared. The bones on the ground did not move at all. The same went for the rocks and grass. He was very surprised because according to the fluctuation just now, these bones and rocks should have disappeared. But what was the result? The more it was like this, the more careful Longao became. He did not dare to be careless. According to Long Ming's senses, there was a very powerful divine beast in the death bridge. As for what level it was, he still did not know. With every step, Longao had to sense it. However, after walking for a long time, he still did not feel the slightest flow of aura. Could it be that Long Ming had sensed wrongly? Human, you actually dare to devour my power! Very good, very good. At this time, there was a burst of cold laughter. Longao was shocked. He was almost certain that the divine beast in the death bridge was not a supreme divine beast, but a powerful nirvana divine beast. In front of Longao, an incomparably huge monster slowly walked out of the darkness. Looking at it, Longao was a bit dumbfounded. That was because the huge monster in front of him was not a divine beast, but a divine dragon. Its entire body was golden, and it had 9 claws. Could this be the legendary 9-clawed golden dragon? P.S. My cold is too serious. My body is too soft. I just got better. Tonight, I will write another 3,000 words. Everyone, please forgive me. Chapter 1499. 9-clawed golden dragon. Within the dragon race, the primordial divine dragon was the number 1 divine dragon. He was also the ancestor who established the dragon race. Now that the primordial divine dragon was born, the number 2 divine dragon was the 9 firmaments divine dragon, the patriarch of the dragon race. But in the legends, after the primordial divine dragon established the dragon race, a variant divine dragon appeared. It was none other than the 9-clawed golden dragon. The 9-clawed golden dragon's strength was comparable to the primordial divine dragon. 10,000 years ago, the primordial divine dragon and the 9-clawed golden dragon battled for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, the 9-clawed golden dragon lost to the primordial divine dragon. But even so, the 9-clawed golden dragon didn't admit defeat. After the battle, the 9-clawed golden dragon was hailed as the number 2 divine dragon of the dragon race. Helpless, the 9-clawed golden dragon wasn't convinced and directly left the dragon race. The primordial divine dragon and the dragon race were also helpless. For such a powerful member to leave, it was a huge blow to the dragon race. Looking at the 9-clawed golden dragon in front of him, Longao was dumbfounded. He never thought that the legendary 9-clawed golden dragon would appear here. 9-clawed golden dragon? Why would a 9-clawed golden dragon appear here? This was the Purple Thunder sect. Longao didn't dare to imagine what would happen if the Long family knew about this. What would the Long family think? Ha ha ha, so there are still people who recognize me. Not bad, not bad. Longao still couldn't figure out one thing. The 9-clawed golden dragon didn't possess the energy of darkness. But the current situation was too confusing. What was going on? Human, are you wondering why I, a dignified 9-clawed golden dragon, would possess the energy of darkness? That's right. Without hiding anything, Longao was indeed curious. Energy of darkness, bullshit energy of darkness. The energy here is the energy of destruction. Otherwise, the Purple Thunder sect wouldn't have sealed me for 10,000 years. F***ck regarding the matter of the Violet Thunder sect sealing the 9-clawed golden dragon, Longao was certain that other than himself and a handful of people from the Violet Thunder sect, no one else knew about it, including the Long clan. Big brother Purple Thunder, you have great methods and great boldness. Human, cut the crap. Since you dared to trespass into my forbidden area, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Before the 9-clawed golden dragon could make a move, Longao had already used his innate ability, Dragon Roar. As the dragon roar resounded, the surrounding space began to confine. However, with the 9-clawed golden dragon's strength, there was no way its innate ability could confine space. Innate divine ability? Break! The flow of space around them was instantly broken. For the 9-clawed golden dragon, this seemed to be a normal thing. After all, the 9-clawed golden dragon's strength was obvious. He wasn't surprised at all because Longao had already guessed the result. You are from the Long clan? That's right. Retreating in order to advance. Although the 9-clawed golden dragon and the primordial divine dragon weren't on good terms, Longao wanted to take a gamble. He wanted to bet that the 9-clawed golden dragon still hadn't forgotten about the dragon race. No matter what, the 9-clawed golden dragon didn't know about the grudge between him and the dragon race. Since this was the case, why not give it a try? After all, the chances of him dying in a normal battle were too high. Innate divine ability, spatial confinement. Back then, Long Tian used this ability to dominate the world. Very good, I really didn't expect that there would be someone in the Long family who could awaken the same innate divine ability. Brat, aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? Longao was very clear on the 9-clawed golden dragon's meaning. He laughed. Senior, the grudge between you and the primordial divine dragon is known by everyone under the heavens. Your grudge has nothing to do with the Long family or the dragon race. No matter what, Senior is the ancestor of the dragon race. Since this is the case, why should I be afraid? Haha, well said, well said. The 9-clawed golden dragon seemed to be very happy. He laughed wildly for a few minutes before gradually stopping. He then said, Brat, seeing that you're a disciple of the Long family, I'll let you go. I can also give you an opportunity. How about it? Thank you, Senior. He had won the bet. As for the opportunity given by the 9-clawed golden dragon, there was almost no need to ask. He was excited just thinking about it. Let me tell you a story first. Half an hour later. After Longao finished listening, he also sighed endlessly. 10,000 years ago, the primordial divine dragon and the 9-clawed golden dragon battled. In the end, the 9-clawed golden dragon was defeated and left the dragon race. However, the 9-clawed golden dragon did not admit defeat. He swore that he would defeat the primordial divine dragon and become the #1 divine dragon of the dragon race. It was because of this that the 9-clawed golden dragon cultivated diligently every day. One day, the 9-clawed golden dragon challenged Yizile, the Purple Thunder ancestor. The two made a bet. If Yizile lost, he would immediately contribute his soul. If the 9-clawed golden dragon lost, he would willingly be sealed by Yizile for 1,000 years. If the Purple Thunder sect was in trouble, the 9-clawed golden dragon would lend a helping hand. According to normal strength, Yizile might not be able to defeat the 9-clawed golden dragon. But who would have known that Yizile came prepared? He borrowed the power of the Purple Thunder Lake to defeat the 9-clawed golden dragon. As the saying goes, the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. The 9-clawed golden dragon did not act shamelessly. Even if he was unwilling, he was still sealed by Yizile. According to the agreement, the 9-clawed golden dragon could break the seal and leave after 1,000 years. But what was the result? 1,000 years later, Yizile did not keep his promise. Not only that, it was unknown where Yizile chose to seal the 9-clawed golden dragon, but after 1,000 years of nurturing, it actually nurtured the power of destruction. Even with the strength of the 9-clawed golden dragon, it was unable to break the seal. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 years had passed. The power of destruction grew stronger and stronger, and the seal grew stronger and stronger. The chances of the 9-clawed golden dragon breaking the seal also grew smaller and smaller. Was the Purple Thunder ancestor wrong? Maybe if others heard this story, they would definitely curse the Purple Thunder ancestor for not keeping his promise. But Longao did not think so. The winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. Who asked the 9-clawed golden dragon to be careless? A loss is a loss. Since it was careless, it had to pay the price. It could not blame anyone for this, especially not the Purple Thunder ancestor. Longao certainly would not say so. If he said so, not to mention obtaining an opportunity, it was unknown whether he could leave this place alive. Boy, after 10,000 years of research, although I am still unable to break the seal of destruction, I have a way to transmit the power of destruction into your body, thus changing your physique. I can guarantee that once you have the power of destruction, even if you are stronger than yourself, it will be a piece of cake. Longao had a general understanding of the power of destruction. The power of destruction was one of the most powerful forces in the world. Such a temptation was simply impossible for Longao to resist. However, Longao was very clear about one thing, and that was that there was no free lunch in the world. The 9-clawed golden dragon would not help him for no reason. Senior, what do you want me to do? Smart people, I like to talk to smart people. Boy, my condition is very simple. As long as you have the power of destruction, then you can help me break the seal. At that time, I will certainly not treat you unfairly. How about it? No problem. Longao did not even think about it, and directly agreed. There's no time to lose. Let's leave and begin. Longao was almost certain that the power of darkness that Long Ming had just swallowed was the so-called power of destruction. If that was the case, then it seemed that Long Ming's physique was very unusual. At the very least, it could withstand the power of destruction. As for himself, it was impossible for him to withstand the power of destruction. If the 9-clawed golden dragon insisted on doing so, not only would it not be able to help him, it would even harm him. Longao was not a fool. He was very clear about the 9-clawed golden dragon's scheme. The next moment, a grayish-black power suddenly appeared around Longao. It was the so-called power of destruction. Before Longao could react, the surrounding power of destruction had already begun to madly enter Longao's body and corrode his entire body. Just as Longao had guessed, once the power of destruction invaded his body, he would undoubtedly die. Of course, Longao would not devour the power of destruction himself. He did not want to die, and he could not die. However, under such circumstances, he could not provoke the 9-clawed golden dragon. After thinking about it, Longao thought of a way, and that was to transfer all the power of destruction that entered his body from the surroundings to Long Ming. If it was transferred, wouldn't Long Ming be able to possess the power of destruction by devouring the power of destruction? Even if you beat the 9-clawed golden dragon to death, he would never have thought that his plan would be seen through by Longao and successfully help Long Ming condense the power of destruction. This time, the devouring took a longer time. It took him a full day and night to finish. Longao could not wait to ask, Long Ming, how is it? Big brother, even my body can't withstand so much power of destruction at once. But don't worry, big brother. This power of destruction is very helpful to my cultivation. If nothing goes wrong, I will possess the power of destruction after I've completely refined it. At that time, I won't even need to worry about ultimate gods. Hearing this, Longao was overjoyed. Just as he had guessed, with Long Ming's physique, devouring the power of destruction was not a problem at all. On the contrary, it would be helpful to his cultivation, thus condensing the so-called power of destruction. It was a pleasant surprise. It seemed that he had made the right choice in choosing the bridge of death. Indeed, danger and opportunity coexisted. Without danger, where would the opportunity come from? Thank you for your help, Senior. He seemed to be a little surprised. Could it be that the other party had really condensed the power of destruction? Impossible. The nine-clawed golden dragon did not believe that Longao could possess the power of destruction. He was only helping Longao temporarily. Once Longao helped him break the seal, he would no longer care about Longao's life. As for whether Longao was dead or alive, there was almost no need to guess. Longao would definitely die after being devoured by the power of destruction. Suppressing the curiosity in his heart, the nine-clawed golden dragon said with a smile, "Boy, this is your opportunity. If you help me break the seal now, I will help you break through to the Nirvana realm. How about it?" Chapter 1500. Nonsense. Lying through his teeth without blushing. The nine-clawed golden dragon was truly shameless. He obviously wanted to make use of Huang Xiaolong, yet he made it sound so dignified. The nine-clawed golden dragon probably didn't care about Huang Xiaolong's life or death. If one didn't have the destruction physique, there would only be one outcome for the destruction energy to enter his body. He would become a tool of destruction. The nine-clawed golden dragon never thought of helping Huang Xiaolong. Regarding this point, Longao could almost be sure. The nine-clawed golden dragon only had one goal in mind. He wanted Huang Xiaolong to break the seal and help him leave. Huang Xiaolong decided to beat him at his own game. "Senior, what should I do next?" Although he knew that the nine-clawed golden dragon wanted to make use of him, Longao didn't want to lose face. The reason was simple. Longao knew his own strength. Even if he used all kinds of trump cards, he wouldn't be a match for the nine-clawed golden dragon. Fighting force with force would only result in death. "Brat, you've already devoured 1/3 of the destruction energy here. I want to use you as the center to attract all the destruction energy here. When the time comes, I'll break the seal and leave." So that's how it is. Longao cursed in his heart. However, things had already reached this point. Longao could only accept it helplessly. The nine-clawed golden dragon didn't even wait for a second. He immediately arranged a strange pattern. Longao stood in the strange pattern. In the next moment, the destruction energy around him started to revolve crazily. If this continued, he would die without a doubt. What should he do? "Brat, even if you die, I'll send your soul into the cycle of reincarnation. Rest in peace." There wasn't the slightest surprise or anger. As for the nine-clawed golden dragon's words, Longao didn't believe it at all. Sending his soul into the cycle of reincarnation? Would the nine-clawed golden dragon be so kind? Seeing that Longao didn't say anything, the nine-clawed golden dragon smiled. His heart was filled with endless excitement. After being sealed for 10,000 years, the nine-clawed golden dragon couldn't wait to leave. The first thing he would do after leaving was to take revenge and destroy the Purple Thunder sect. In the strange pattern. As the destruction energy revolved faster and faster, Longao's figure disappeared, swallowed by the destruction energy. No one knew if he was alive or dead. At the end of the bridge, Longao successfully left the bridge of death and heaved a sigh of relief. Luring the tiger away from the mountain, Longao was extremely clearly aware that it was impossible for him to resist the energy of destruction with his own strength, and he would die for sure. As a result, Long Ming replaced Longao and continued to absorb the destructive power around him. This way, he could kill two birds with one stone. By devouring the power of destruction, not only could the dark dragon continue to increase its strength, it could also divert the attention of the nine-clawed golden dragon. When the time came, with the dark dragon devouring the power of destruction, it would be a matter of minutes for it to escape. However, Long Ming did not persist for long. Long Ming had already devoured a lot of the power of destruction. If he continued to devour, even Long Ming would not be able to withstand it. Not only that, if Long Ming continued to devour the power of destruction, it would give the nine-clawed golden dragon a chance. If the nine-clawed golden dragon left the seal, Big Brother Purple Thunder would be in big trouble. No matter what, the nine-clawed golden dragon's strength was obvious. About 5 minutes. Long Ming let out a tiger roar and his huge body rose up. Before the nine-clawed golden dragon could react, Long Ming's figure had already disappeared without a trace. What had happened? He was dumbfounded. Looking at the disappearing figure, the nine-clawed golden dragon seemed to have guessed something. He was shocked and roared angrily. You want to leave? It's not that easy. The nine-clawed golden dragon could clearly sense the opponent's strength. He was only in the Divine Emperor realm. Presumptuous! The nine-clawed golden dragon was completely dumbfounded after his attack failed. He had never thought that he could not make the opponent stay. Was this true? He had full confidence in his strength. If Longao left, how could he break the seal? For thousands of years, the nine-clawed golden dragon had tried countless times and found countless scapegoats. However, there was no doubt that no one could withstand the devouring of the power of destruction. Not to mention devouring so much power of destruction, it was unknown if he could even devour 1/10 of the power of destruction. Anger. Endless anger. In the current situation, what could he do even if he was angry? If it was the previous Long Ming, he would not have been able to escape from the nine-clawed golden dragon's lock. However, after devouring the power of destruction, Long Ming's situation was completely different. With the help of the power of destruction, Long Ming's speed had soared to the extreme. Even the nine-clawed golden dragon could not lock onto Long Ming's body. Longao heaved a sigh of relief after Long Ming's safe return. After successfully passing through the Death Bridge, Longao calculated that he had successfully passed 3 tests. There were only 5 tests in total. In other words, he only needed 2 more tests to pass through the purple lightning space and reach the purple lightning lake. If Yi Tianhua and the others knew that Longao had successfully passed the 3 tests, they would probably be shocked to death. After all, in the purple lightning space, unless a Nirvana realm martial artist personally came, not to mention a Divine King martial artist, even an Emperor God martial artist would not be able to pass through 1 test, let alone 3. It was simply unbelievable. Long Ming, you have devoured so much power of destruction. How long will it take for you to completely refine it? This was what Longao was most concerned about. Although Long Ming could devour the power of destruction, it was better to be safe than sorry. If anything happened to Long Ming, he would probably feel guilty for the rest of his life. Long Ming smiled and seemed to be very excited. He said, Big brother, don't worry. I am fine. According to the amount of power of destruction that I have devoured, I believe that I will be able to reach the peak Divine Emperor realm in less than a year. As for whether I will be able to break through to the Nirvana realm, I am not sure. Breaking through 2 realms in a year. Even Longao was a little surprised at such a cultivation speed. However, Longao was very excited and happy for Long Ming. Even if he could not break through to the Nirvana realm in a year, reaching the peak Divine Tao realm was already not bad. As long as he did not meet a Divine Pan martial artist, Long Ming could do whatever he wanted in the continent. Long Ming, from now on, don't worry about anything. Focus on refining the power of destruction. Remember, don't worry about anything. Don't think about it. The most important thing is to increase your strength. Without giving Long Ming any chance to speak, Longao continued. Long Ming, you have to remember that if you want to help me, you have to increase your strength as much as possible. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. Chapter 1501. Nodding his head. Long Ming understood the meaning of his big brother's words. The stronger he was, the more help he would be to his big brother. On the contrary, with his current strength, not only would he not be able to help his big brother, he might even implicate his big brother. Long Ming retracted his arm and obediently refined the destructive energy, striving to raise his strength to the highest level in the shortest time possible. Looking at the endless 9 heavens before him, Longao continued on his way. Longao already knew the remaining 2 stages of the Purple Lightning 5 stages. The 4th stage was also the suppression of the Heaven and Earth's aura, but with the help of the Purple Lightning Lake's aura, it was extremely powerful. Even so, Longao still managed to pass through. The biggest reason was that Longao had condensed the heaven and earth's aura. As long as he passed the final stage, he would be able to reach the purple lightning lake. Not only would the grudge between him and the purple thunder sect be written off, he would also be able to obtain a fortuitous encounter. Longao was very clear that the purple thunder ancestor wouldn't speak nonsense for no reason. Fortuitous encounter. According to what purple thunder ancestor had said, if he entered the purple thunder space this time, as long as there was no accident, his cultivation could break through from the God-King realm to the God-Emperor realm. Although this matter was a little difficult, Longao chose to believe in purple thunder ancestor. Could the fortuitous encounter be in the 5th stage? In the first 4 stages, other than the Bridge of Death, the other 3 stages didn't have any life or death moments. Longao was very clear that it was fortunate that he had condensed the heaven and earth's aura. Otherwise, other cultivators, even if they were peak God-Emperor realm cultivators, not to mention passing the 4 stages, it would be a huge problem if they could even pass the 1st stage. Purple lightning 5th stage, 5-blow thunderstruck. Putting aside whether the 5th stage was dangerous or not, just the name of the 5th stage, 5-blow thunderstruck, was already shocking enough. Previously, Longao didn't understand what the 5-blow thunderstruck meant. After stepping into the valley, Longao finally understood what the so-called 5-blow thunderstruck meant. The 5-blow thunderstruck was when the power of thunder and lightning filled the entire valley. No matter who it was, unless a Nirvana realm martial artist personally came, no one could withstand the thunder and lightning attack. The 5-blow thunderstruck was too wild. Even Longao stood at the edge of the valley and did not dare to step in. He knew his own limits. Even with his own strength, once he entered the valley, it was unknown whether he could withstand the 5-blow thunderstruck. Big brother, the lightning in the valley, the lightning is not heaven's lightning. Not heaven's lightning? What did that mean? Hearing Long Chang's words, Longao's face was filled with curiosity. He asked, Xiao Chang, what do you mean? Big brother, I have already sensed it. If I am not wrong, the lightning in the valley should come from the divine souls of the 4 Nirvana realm cultivators. It is the power of lightning condensed by the heaven and earth's power. Although it is not as strong as heaven's lightning, this kind of lightning can frighten people's mind and devour their flesh and blood. Damn, he was shocked because Longao never thought that there would be 4 Nirvana realm cultivators' divine souls in the valley. According to Long Chang's words, didn't it mean that at least 4 Nirvana realm cultivators had fallen in the valley? Moreover, they were cultivators who possessed the power of lightning. According to Long Chang's words, the 5 lightnings in the valley were extremely dangerous. If he entered rashly, wouldn't he die? Long Chang, do you have a way to deal with the 5 lightnings? Longao was very clear that if Long Chang did not have a way to deal with the 5 lightnings, he would not casually talk to him. In this case, if there were no accidents, Long Chang should have a way. As expected. Big brother, with our situation, it is very difficult to resist the attack of the lightning. I just thought about it. If we want to pass through the valley smoothly, there is only one way. What is it? Longao was a little impatient because if they wanted to reach the Purple Lightning Lake smoothly, they had to pass through the valley. If they did not enter the valley, then they had to go back the way they came. Not to mention whether they could go back the way they came, just the 9-clawed golden dragon alone would tear him apart if he went back. Because of this, no matter what, he had to enter the valley and break through the 5 lightnings. He had to pass through the valley and reach the Purple Lightning Lake smoothly. Big brother, you have already devoured the power of lightning, but it was useless. If Big brother is willing to take the risk, I have a bold suggestion. As long as I condense some essence blood, after you devour it, you can use the 9 cycle reincarnation technique to fuse your body with the Black Tortoise battle armor. If there are no accidents, I believe Big Brother's physical defense will increase by another level. Fusing the body with the Black Tortoise battle armor was a very wild thing. However, Longao did not hesitate because he chose to believe in Long Chang. As for the danger, it was still the same saying. Without danger, there would be no opportunity. Danger and opportunity would always coexist. Longao did not continue speaking. After resting for a while, he immediately took a step forward and stepped into the valley. The moment he stepped in, the power of lightning attacked him from all directions. If he did not enter, he would not have known. The moment he stepped in, he was shocked. Not daring to be careless, Longao immediately circulated the 9-cycle reincarnation technique. Black and white energy revolved around him, forming a black and white barrier. Long Chang's essence blood was a total of 10 drops. Longao directly fused them into his body. Not only that, Longao also started to fuse his body with the Black Tortoise battle armor. If it was under normal circumstances, who knew if he would succeed or how long it would take? But in the current situation, with the assistance of the 5 lightnings, Longao was given a rare opportunity. If it was the heavenly lightning, he wouldn't be able to fuse them together. The only thing he could do was to fuse the souls of the 4 lightning kings. Longao gritted his teeth in agony. If the fusion failed, there would only be a single outcome. He would be directly devoured by the lightning, and even his soul wouldn't be able to survive. He wouldn't even have the chance to enter the cycle of reincarnation. This was the consequence. Violet Thunder Sect, Violet Thunder Great Hall. Big brother, Longao has already been in the Violet Thunder space for a total of 5 days. According to my guess, if Longao doesn't come out within 7 days, it means that he has already died in the Violet Thunder space. I wonder what are the chances of him surviving this time. Up until now, Yuwen was still full of confidence. Just based on Longao's strength, it was almost impossible for him to pass the Violet Thunder space smoothly. Because for so many years, other than Nirvana Realm cultivators, no one else had been able to successfully reach the Violet Thunder Lake. Not only that, outsiders were unable to enter the Violet Thunder space. Precisely because of this, there were only 2 outcomes for Longao to enter the Violet Thunder space. The first outcome was to return the way he came. In that case, he could still preserve his life. However, according to the old ancestors' intention, as long as Longao didn't successfully reach the Violet Thunder Lake, the enmity between Longao and the Violet Thunder sect wouldn't be over. When the old ancestor personally took action, Longao would undoubtedly die. As for the second outcome, it was that Longao would definitely die if he tried to force his way through the Violet Thunder space. In other words, regardless of whether Longao tried to force his way through the Violet Thunder space, Longao would definitely die. With regards to his third brother's intentions, how could Yi Wutian not understand? He sneered and said, "Third brother, you can rest assured. I'm sure all of you are very clear about the situation at the Violet Thunder Lake. Unless we personally go there, no matter who it is, as long as they try to force their way through the Violet Thunder space, they will definitely die. Even Longao is no exception. Great Elder, I still feel that there's something wrong with this matter." Yi Tianhua's face was solemn, causing the 3 of them to be extremely curious. They didn't know why the master was still acting like this. Could it be that something had changed? Among the 4 of them, Yi Tianhua's strength was the strongest. He had almost reached the peak of Nirvana Realm, only a step away from officially breaking through to Nirvana Realm. Not only that, Yi Tianhua was able to become the master of the Violet Thunder sect. Master, if you have something to say, just say it. Great Elder, Second Elder, Third Elder, I'm sure all of you are already aware of the rumors about Longao. There are too many variables with regards to Longao. All of you have also seen it for yourselves. If the old ancestor truly wants to deal with Longao, there's no need for him to do all this. Since the old ancestor wants to do this, there's a high chance that Longao will be able to break through the Violet Thunder space and arrive at the Violet Thunder Lake. Although I know that this isn't very likely, I still believe that Longao will definitely come out alive. Hearing this, the expressions of the 3 elders turned extremely gloomy. Because the master's words weren't without reason. If the old ancestor truly wanted to help Longao, then there was no doubt that Longao would definitely come out alive. Until now, the 3 of them still couldn't understand why the old ancestor wanted to help Longao. Could it be that the old ancestor was really afraid of Longao? It shouldn't be so. No one knew the reason behind it. Master, what do you think? The three elders' thoughts were very similar. Because all three of them wanted Longao to die. This wasn't just for revenge, but also to protect the sect's reputation. No matter what, as the three elders of the sect, the three of them had to think about the sect's interests first. Therefore, no matter what, Longao must die. After thinking for a while, Yi Tianhua said, "Three elders, let's take a look at the situation. If Longao is unable to leave the Violet Thunder space alive, then everything will be fine. However, if Longao is able to leave the Violet Thunder Lake alive, then there's only one explanation. That is, the old ancestor wants to help Longao. The three of you should know that with Longao's strength, it's impossible for him to reach the Violet Thunder Lake. If he's able to leave the Violet Thunder Lake alive, then there's only one explanation. The only explanation is that the old ancestor wants to help Longao. This way, Longao will be able to reach the Violet Thunder Lake successfully. The first elder is right. I've already decided that if Longao successfully reaches the Violet Thunder Lake and comes out alive, then the grudge between Longao and us will be written off. Three elders, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't be stubborn. Otherwise, we won't be able to pass the old ancestor's test." Yi Wuren seemed to want to say something, but was stopped by Yi Wutian. He nodded in agreement and said, "Let's do this." Chapter 1502. Unwillingness. Boundless anger and unwillingness. It was impossible for Yi Wuren to let the matter rest. Even if the sect wanted to wipe the slate clean with Longao, there was no way he would let Longao off so easily. An entire day and night passed. Longao finally merged the black tortoise battle armor with his physical body. Using the dragon blood essence as a catalyst, Longao's physical defense was now stronger than the black tortoise battle armor. Looking at the lightning attacks that had stopped in the surrounding valleys, Longao sighed. If the Purple Thunder ancestor and the rest were here, what would they think? The lightning energy in the valley was suppressed by the four Nirvana Realm Divine Souls, but Longao absorbed it cleanly. Whether or not the four Nirvana Realm Divine Souls were destroyed was still unknown. In this kind of situation, Longao didn't continue to dwell on it. He would tell Purple Thunder Ancestor everything about the Thunder Valley when the time came. Purple Thunder Lake, Purple Thunder Sect's forbidden area. Other than the Purple Thunder Ancestor, no one knew about the secret of the Purple Thunder Lake. Even Yi Tianhua and the three elders did not know about the origin energy in the Purple Thunder Lake. Purple Thunder Lake. Surrounded by peaks, there was a huge lake in the middle. The surface of the lake emitted purple lightning, just like the Purple Thunder Lake. In the middle of the lake, there was a pavilion that was neither big nor small. Inside the pavilion, the four of them sat in a circle in the pavilion. Since the old ancestor did not speak, Yi Tianhua and the other three did not dare to say anything. The four of them looked at each other and saw a trace of anticipation in each other's eyes. The four of them hoped that Longao would fall in the Purple Thunder 5 gates. That way, it would save them a lot of trouble. The four of them were worried. If Longao came out alive, what would happen to the four of them? "Brother Long, congratulations!" "Brother Long?" The old ancestor called Longao Brother Long. Hearing the old ancestor call him that, the four of them were dumbfounded. If they didn't hear it with their own ears, they wouldn't have believed it even if they died. Not only that, the four of them had never thought that Longao would really challenge the Purple Lightning trials. Was this for real? Looking at the figure in the sky, the four of them looked extremely gloomy, especially Yi Wuren, who clenched his fists tightly. However, the great ancestor was here, so even if he was furious, he could only endure it. After entering the pavilion, Longao ignored the four people. "Big Brother Purple Thunder, thank you." Longao was very clear in his heart that if not for Yizilei's help this time, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for him to smoothly pass the Purple Lightning 5 trials. "Come, sit." Longao did not have the slightest trace of politeness and directly sat down, All of you listen up. Brother Long has already successfully arrived at the Purple Lightning Lake. From today onwards, the grudge between Brother Long and the sect will be written off. Since the old ancestor had already said so, the four of them could do nothing about it. Longao, goodbye. Yi Tianhua and the other three stood up, respectfully bowing to Purple Thunder Ancestor, then turned and left. Brother Long, please don't take offense. It's fine. Longao was very clear in his heart that although the four of them reluctantly agreed to write off the grudge because of Purple Thunder Ancestor's deterrence, the four of them were 100% unwilling to do so. If given the chance, Longao could almost be sure that the four of them would not hesitate to deal with him. There was not the slightest bit of worry. As long as Purple Thunder Ancestor stood on his side, Longao believed that even if the four of them wanted to deal with him, they would not be able to do so openly. Brother Long, did you gain anything from this trip to the Purple Lightning Lake? Regarding this point, Longao did not hide the slightest bit, and roughly recounted the events in the Purple Lightning Valley. It's fine, the four Nirvana Realm souls did not disappear. Since you have already devoured the lightning energy, if there are no accidents, the Lightning Valley will be filled with lightning energy again in about 3 years' time. I see. Hearing this, Longao heaved a sigh of relief. Brother Long, since you have successfully arrived at the Purple Lightning Lake, I will not hide it from you. The origin energy that I discovered in the past is within the Purple Lightning Lake. I have tried countless methods, but still could not obtain it. I hope you can help me. Without the slightest hesitation. However, Longao shook his head. Brother Yi, to tell you the truth, I have already sensed the origin energy here. Although it has not been sealed by the heavenly Daos, I can almost guarantee that as long as you break the seal and obtain the origin energy, the heavenly Daos will be the first to know. Is this true? If it was anyone else who said this, Yizile would definitely not believe it. Only Longao did not have the slightest doubt. That was because he was well aware of Longao's character. There was no need to trick him. The heavenly Daos were the #1 person in the martial heaven continent. If this matter was known by the heavenly Daos, the consequences would be unimaginable. Brother Yi, you and I feel like old friends at first sight. I know how you treat me. Since that's the case, I will not hide it from you. Several years ago, I obtained the origin energy here. Ah? Hearing this, even Purple Thunder Ancestor was shocked. Because he knew very well what the origin energy meant. Although Longao's cultivation had not yet broken through to the Nirvana realm, he could store the origin energy. Once his cultivation broke through to the Nirvana realm and obtained the origin energy, then he would have at least an 80% chance of breaking through to the peak of the martial Tao. Without waiting for Purple Thunder Ancestor to speak, Longao had already continued. However, I have already forcibly expelled the origin energy from my body. Why is that? Brother Long, do you know that if you can obtain the origin energy and break through to the Nirvana realm, then you will most likely break through to the peak of the martial Tao? For martial artists, the peak of the martial Tao is something they yearn for. Don't you want to break through to the peak of the martial Tao? I do. Without the slightest hesitation, not only himself, but also the peak of the martial Tao. It was a realm that every martial artist yearned to break through. Even Longao was no exception. Then why? This time, Purple Thunder Ancestor was completely confused. Since Longao also wanted to break through to the peak of the martial Tao, then the origin energy was the key. It could be said that without the origin energy, no matter who it was, they would not be able to reach the peak of the martial Tao. Even the strongest person under the heavenly Tao, the myriad beast ancestor, would not be able to break through to the peak of the martial Tao without devouring the origin energy. Big Brother Purple Thunder, I have a secret. After telling you, I hope you can keep it a secret. Because once this matter is spread out, I am afraid it will cause a sensation in the entire continent. Especially if the heavenly Tao knows about it, then you and I will have a lot of trouble. Seeing Longao speak in such a dignified manner, Purple Thunder Ancestor seemed to have guessed something. He nodded heavily and said, Brother Long, rest assured. What you and I will talk about today will not be known by a third person. Purple Thunder Ancestor was very unwilling. If the origin energy of the Purple Thunder Lake was related to the heavenly Tao, then no matter what, he could not touch it. Otherwise, if he angered the heavenly Tao, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 1503. Big Brother Yi, if it's possible, we should reproduce our own origin energy. Reproduce their own origin energy? What did that mean? For a moment, Yi Zilei didn't react. Longao smiled and continued. Big Brother Yi, all the Nirvana realm martial artists in the Tianwu continent want to obtain the origin energy, but no one knows. Once they devour the origin energy, although they can smoothly break through the peak realm of the martial Tao, after breaking through the peak realm of the martial Tao, I'm afraid it's already impossible to continue improving. As the realm got higher and higher, Longao could almost be sure that even in the peak realm of martial arts, there were differences in strength. Devouring the power of origin to break through the peak realm of martial arts, it was as difficult as ascending to the sky to continue to improve. However, if one could reproduce the power of origin, then after reaching the peak realm of martial arts, the difficulty of continuing to break through would be much easier. However, to reproduce one's own origin energy was easier said than done. In the past 10,000 years, no one on the Tianwu continent had been able to reproduce their own origin energy. Even the number one expert beneath the heavenly Taos, the myriad beast ancestor, hadn't been able to reproduce their own origin energy. It was easy to imagine how difficult it was. After hearing Longao's secret, Yi Zilei sighed. If it weren't for Longao, he wouldn't have known about it even if he was beaten to death. Let alone him, he believed that no one on the Tianwu continent knew about it. For a long time, everyone had believed that there was only one way to break through to the Nirvana realm, and that was to devour their own origin energy. There was no other way. But now, Brother Long, I understand what you mean. However, according to what you said, although the reproduction of source energy by oneself is very beneficial to one's cultivation in the future, have you ever thought that it is almost impossible for us to reproduce source energy on our own? If that is the case, I believe that many people will choose to devour source energy instead of reproducing source energy on their own. Longao nodded. He agreed with Yi Zilei's words. It was just as Yi Zilei had said. Reproducing one's own origin energy was much more difficult than devouring it. Even if one broke through to the peak of the martial path, it would be difficult to continue breaking through in the future. Perhaps out of 100 people, 100 would choose to devour their own origin energy instead of reproducing it themselves. Big Brother Yi, I know what you mean. I've already decided to reproduce my own origin energy. That's why I forcibly expelled it from my body. Big Brother Yi, I also hope that you can reproduce your own origin energy. Yi Zilei sighed deeply and helplessly said, Brother Long, I'm sure you're aware of the martial heaven continent's situation. No one can reproduce core energy. Even the number one genius beneath the heavenly Taos, the myriad beast ancestor, can't do it. At this point, Yi Zilei did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Big Brother Yi, I have a conjecture that I want to share with you. Can you give me some advice? Brother Long, Brother Yi. Yi Zilei didn't say anything. He just listened. According to my guess, the Tianwu continent's inability to reproduce their own origin energy isn't because of the Tianwu continent's cultivators. Perhaps it's because of the heavenly Taos or the God Diviner. What do you think? Brother Long, since you know, why are you giving up on your origin energy? Yi Zilei was completely confused. Longao clearly knew that he couldn't reproduce his own origin energy, but he still gave up on it. If that was the case, wanting to break through to the peak of the martial path was just a fool's dream. Big Brother Yi, whether or not you're willing to reproduce your own origin energy, I've already decided. No matter the price. Seeming to think of something, Longao continued. Big Brother Yi, we can't touch the Purple Lightning Lake's origin energy for now. We can't let the heavenly Taos discover it. Otherwise, we'll all be in trouble. However, I promise you that if there's a chance in the future, I'll do my best to help you break the seal on the purple lightning lake and obtain its origin energy. Since things had already reached this point, how could Yizile refuse? Although Yizile really wanted to obtain the origin energy, he could only choose to give up temporarily when he thought of the terrifying heavenly Das. Brother Long, what are you going to do next? What should I do? Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through from the Divine King realm to the Divine Emperor realm. Moreover, his body had merged with the Black Tortoise armor. Not only did his strength soar, but his physical defense had also reached a new level. At this moment, Longao was fully confident that he could kill a Hierarch realm expert, and even fight against a Divine Emperor realm expert. As for the outcome, it was still unknown. Big Brother Yi, I believe you should know about the 1-year agreement between me and the 3 major forces. Yes. I'm going to train well. I hope to break through the Supreme Divine Realm and reach the Nirvana Realm within a year's time. Then, I'll be able to fight against the 3 major forces. Could Longao really do it in just a year's time? Although Yizile believed in Longao's talent and potential, but to say that Longao could break through from the Divine Emperor realm to the Nirvana realm in just a year's time was a little unbelievable. But what could he say? Brother Long, no matter when, I will stand by your side. 1 year later, I will head to the Dragon Valley. What did Yizile mean? Longao wasn't a fool, he naturally understood Yizile's meaning. 1 year later, Yizile would head to the Dragon Valley to help him. In that case, the Violet Thunder sect would have a grudge with the 3 major powers. This was a huge favor. However, Longao didn't reject because he truly treated Yizile as a friend. Since they were friends, there was no need for words. Big Brother Yi, I'll take my leave first. 1 year later, if I don't die, I will definitely do my best to help you break the seal on the Purple Lightning Lake and obtain the origin energy. Okay. Longao didn't stay any longer, he stood up and left. In a secret chamber of the Violet Thunder sect. Third Elder, Longao has already left the sect. As for his whereabouts, we don't know. In the dark room, Yuwurin's face was gloomy to the extreme. His whole body exuded a terrifying murderous aura that lingered for a long time. He said in a gloomy voice, "Send out sun, moon and star. No matter what happens, kill Longao for me. Otherwise, the 4 of them will never come back." Yes. In the secret chamber, only Yuwurin was left. All of a sudden, a sinister laughter rang out, echoing throughout the secret chamber. After leaving the Violet Thunder sect, Longao quietly stood at the peak of a mountain, feeling the cool breeze blowing against his face. In his mind, he was thinking about the future. 1 year, he only had 1 year. If he couldn't break through to the Nirvana realm within a year, it would be difficult for him to contend against the 3 major powers. No matter if it was the Martial Artists Alliance, the Long family, or the Myriad Beast sect, they were all part of the 10 great sects. You've followed me all the way, why don't you come out and meet me? Longao didn't need to guess, he already knew who the other party was. Although he had already written off the debt between him and Yizile, what about the other 4? Especially Yuwurin, he had killed Yuwurin's grandson, as well as many Divine Realm cultivators from the Violet Thunder sect. How could Yuwurin and Yi Tianhua just let it go? Under the dusk, 4 people slowly walked out. The 4 middle-aged men looked almost identical. They were the quadruplets, Sun, Moon, and Star, who were sent by Yuwurin. They were warriors at the peak of the Emperor God realm. Unless a Nirvana realm warrior came in person, no one could compete with the power of the 4 of them. You're Longao? Since you already know, why bother asking? Who are the 4 of you? Sun Yuxing from the Violet Thunder sect. What's your purpose? To kill you. Longao didn't continue talking nonsense, he just wanted to confirm whether the 4 of them were from the Violet Thunder sect or not. However, the 4 of them were open and above board, they didn't hide anything. If it was someone else, they wouldn't have dared to say their name out of fear of the Violet Thunder ancestor. In the end, the 4 of them were still confident that they could kill him. Longao, if you kill yourself here, we can keep your corpse. Longao took a step forward, borrowing the power of teleportation, his silhouette suddenly disappeared. At the same time, a dragon roar resounded. Longao had already used his innate ability, the dragon roar, locking onto the bodies of the four. If it was one-on-one, Longao could use his innate ability to lock onto his opponent's body. The success rate was very high. However, if the four of them joined forces, it would be difficult for Longao to lock onto their bodies. However, Longao didn't give them any chance to breathe. After using his innate ability, he used his time-killing technique. Under the influence of time, Longao's speed soared to the limit. As for the four of them, they discovered that their speed was much slower than before. They didn't dare to be careless, and immediately joined forces to break through the flow of time and space around them. One had to admit that the four of them were very strong. Under their joint forces, their power was unimaginable. In just a few seconds they had broken through the flow of time and space. Sun Yuxing and the other three were quadruplets. Apart from being mentally connected, they also had another body, which was the illusion. Under the illusion, even Longao didn't have the slightest bit of defense, and was ruthlessly attacked. The four of them joined forces, each sending out a palm strike. If it was the previous Longao, even with the protection of the Black Tortoise battle armor, he would have been injured even if he didn't die. However, ever since his bloodline merged with the Black Tortoise battle armor, Longao's physical defense had risen to a whole new level. Even if he took one of their attacks head-on, Longao would be fine. The four of them had full confidence in the power of their joint attack, but Longao was fine. The four of them were completely dumbfounded. Was this real? Chapter 1504. Although the four of them were shocked when they missed their target, they did not stop attacking. They attacked Longao from all four directions at the same time. Retreating continuously, Longao knew very well that if this continued, he would definitely lose. Without the help of the dragon seal, it would not be easy for Longao to escape successfully. This battle boded ill rather than well. Longao did not expect the four of them to be so powerful when they joined forces. Sun, moon, and stars, the four of them created a divine power. Unless a Nirvana realm warrior came in person, no one was their match. With the help of spatial teleportation, Longao kept changing his figure. In this way, it would not be easy for the four of them to kill Longao. As time passed, the battle continued to escalate. Longao, we'd like to see how you're going to leave today. Prison of heaven and earth. Sun, moon, and stars were connected by blood. When they broke through to the ultimate god realm together, they created a spatial divine power. In other words, the so-called prison of heaven and earth was almost the same as spatial imprisonment. Shocking! Longao did not expect the four of them to be able to imprison his body. This was going to be troublesome. He didn't dare to be careless, nor did he dare to hesitate. He mobilized all the power in his body and directly used his divine power, Dragon Roar. As the Dragon Roar sounded, the flow of space changed counterclockwise. His divine power and prison of heaven and earth were both spatial imprisonment. If they were of the same realm, Longao might not necessarily lose even if he fought against four of them. However, the situation was completely different now. The realm gap between Longao and the four of them was too big. Therefore, the prison of heaven and earth directly reflected the divine power and imprisoned Longao's body instantly. Before Longao could react, the four of them were already close to him. They each threw a punch and all of them landed on Longao's body. If it was an ordinary warrior, not to mention a divine king, even an emperor god would have almost zero chance of survival after being attacked by the four of them. However, Longao's situation was different. After fusing his physical body with the Black Tortoise armor, Longao's physical defense rose to a whole new level. Even if he stood there and allowed the four of them to attack him, they would need at least a few dozen attacks before they could injure him. That was not even considering whether or not they could break through Longao's physical defense. The Black Tortoise was known as the divine beast with the strongest defense in the world. The Black Tortoise armor was refined by the Black Tortoise. Moreover, now that it had fused with Long Chang's blood essence, its defensive power was even more terrifying. Boom! Longao was still as steady as Mount Tai. It could be said that he was not injured at all. What was going on? Looking at Longao, who did not even lose a single strand of hair, Sun Moon Stellar was even more astonished. The four of them were extremely confident in their strength. Let alone a puny God King, even a rebirth realm cultivator would not dare to say that he could take their combined attack head-on. He had failed to kill Longao twice. What kind of concept was this? Kill! The four of them looked at each other, and saw a trace of determination in each other's eyes. The four of them knew about the grudge between Longao and the sect. Moreover, the third elder had already given them a death order. If they could not kill Longao, they could forget about going back in this lifetime. It was either you die or I die. The four of them definitely did not want to die. Therefore, the only way was for Longao to die. The four of them continued to use the prison of heaven and earth to imprison Longao. They did not give Longao any chance to escape. The continuous attacks hit Longao dozens of times in a few seconds. No matter how strong Longao's defense was, he could not withstand such attacks. Longao spat out blood. His face was pale and his body was on the verge of collapsing. Seeing this, the four of them were overjoyed. The power of the prison of heaven and earth was still maintained. The four of them could be considered to have thrown caution to the wind. After all, using the prison of heaven and earth for a long time would cause great harm to the four of them. Innate divine ability, Dragon Roar. Longao did not give up. As long as it was not the last moment, he would not give up. 1 against 4, the gap between their realms was too big. Longao wanted to rely on his innate divine ability to break the prison of heaven and earth. It was a little difficult. However, as the battle continued to escalate, the four of them continued to use the prison of heaven and earth. The four of them gradually weakened. In this way, Longao's innate divine ability and the prison of heaven and earth were constantly entangled and colliding. The spatial fluctuations in the surroundings became more and more intense. The two different spatial divine abilities collided. Not sure if it was because the power was too strong, but a crack suddenly appeared. It was like a starving beast. Spatial crack! Retreat! Looking at the spatial crack that suddenly appeared in front of them, the four of them kept retreating. The four of them knew very well what the spatial crack meant. Not to mention them, even the third elder or the old ancestor would not dare to resist the spatial crack. In front of the spatial crack, only a pinnacle martial artist had the ability to resist it. Longao did not dare to move. Because of the collision of the spatial fluctuations, the spatial cracks had already appeared in the surroundings. No matter which direction he tried to escape, he would be swallowed by the spatial crack. He hoped that he was lucky and that the spatial crack would not spread inwards. Otherwise, he would definitely die. Both sides did not dare to move. The four of them hoped that the spatial crack would swallow Longao. As for Longao, he did not move, hoping that the spatial crack would not spread. Otherwise, he would not be able to resist the spatial crack, and only death would await him. Time passed slowly. Boom, 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 boom. Just at this time, the sound of thunder suddenly resounded from the summit of the mountain. Longao was very curious. He raised his head and looked at the 9 heavens. The sky was clear and boundless. There was not the slightest bit of thunderclouds. If that was the case, where did the thunder come from? The four of them were pleasantly surprised. The four of them had already guessed what had happened. The four of them bowed respectfully but did not say anything. Longao, you killed my grandson. Today, I will make you pay with your blood. Blood for blood. Hearing these words, Longao had already guessed who it was. If he was not wrong, it would definitely be his biggest enemy, the third elder of the Purple Thunder sect, Yi Wuren. Just as expected. Yi Wuren, do you know that the grudge between me and the Purple Thunder sect has been written off? If you attack me now, you are ignoring the Purple Thunder sect's old ancestor. Under such circumstances, if Yi Wuren were to attack, it would be disadvantageous for him. After all, Longao could not move recklessly. Otherwise, he would be swallowed by the spatial crack. Ha ha ha! Who knows that I will attack you? Longao, no matter who comes today, you will definitely die. Blood for blood. Just as he finished speaking, the sound of thunder grew louder. Chapter 1505. Almost everyone in the Purple Thunder sect cultivated the power of thunder and lightning. Yu Wuren's cultivation had successfully broken through to the Nirvana realm, and the power of thunder and lightning he possessed was not something that ordinary people could contend with. Even if there was no space crack around Longao, it was still unknown whether he could withstand it, not to mention the current situation. It was a close call. An eye for an eye. In order to avenge his grandson, Yu Wuren even disregarded the ancestors' deterrence and insisted on taking action. However, Yu Wuren was also full of confidence. The hunting operation this time was extremely secretive. Unless Ryu and Xing leaked the information, it was impossible for the forefather to know about it. Sun, moon, stars, help me! Yes. Hearing the voices coming from all around, Longao became even more curious. Yu Wuren's cultivation had already reached the Nirvana realm, and he was no match for him at all. In that case, why did Yu Wuren need the four of them to help him? Why? In the next second, Longao finally knew the reason. It turned out that Yu Wuren wanted to ensure that nothing would go wrong. Even if he was full of confidence in his own strength, Yu Wuren still needed the help of the four of them. In this way, nothing would go wrong. Yu Wuren joined forces with the sun, moon, stars, and the surrounding began to be filled with all kinds of thunder and lightning power, constantly attacking Longao. If Longao was in his heyday and relied on his physical defense to resist the thunder and lightning attack, at least he would not die immediately. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao had already been attacked by the four of them at the beginning. Even if his physical defense was strong, it was impossible for him to resist the attacks continuously, especially now. The one who attacked was Yu Wuren, a Nirvana realm super powerhouse who was above the four of them. Puff! Longao's body was attacked by the thunder and lightning. He could no longer hold on, and flew out directly. This was the strongest attack of Yu Wuren and the four of them. Not to mention Longao, even a Nirvana realm warrior would not be able to resist this move. Hit! Overjoyed, the four of them looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. It was very funny. The four of them were at the peak God Emperor realm. Even if they joined forces with a Nirvana realm expert to kill Longao, they would still be considered to have lost in such a huge battle even if they won. If this matter were to spread out, where would his face be? However, the five of them wouldn't let this matter spread. Putting aside the issue of face, if the Patriarch were to find out about this, whether it was Sun, Moon, Star, or Yu Wuren, they wouldn't be able to answer to Patriarch Purple Thunder. Longao was struck by the lightning and his body flew out. Just as his body landed on the spatial crack, he was instantly swallowed up by it. Third Elder. He waved his hand. Yu Wuren sneered and said, "No one below the peak of martial arts can survive a space crack. Longao is no exception." The spatial crack lasted for a full minute before it gradually disappeared. The peak of the mountain regained its calm. "This matter is not allowed to be leaked. Otherwise, no matter who it is, you will be killed without mercy." "Yes, Third Elder. Let's go." Yu Wuren was pleasantly surprised after successfully killing Longao. He didn't expect that things would go so smoothly. He thought that Longao was a powerful enemy, but now it seemed that his reputation wasn't as good as meeting him in person. As the four of them left, the peak of the mountain was destroyed beyond recognition. However, there wasn't the slightest bit of chi around the mountain. This was Yu Wuren's strength. Longao was swallowed up by the spatial crack. In the entire Tianwu continent, no one knew about it, including Patriarch Purple Thunder. Purple Thunder sect. Inside a secret chamber. "Big brother, Longao is dead." Longao was dead? Of course, Yu Wutian and Yu Wutian didn't doubt their third brother's words. The two of them were shocked because the great ancestor had already said that the grudge between Longao and the sect was written off. Their third brother still rashly attacked and killed Longao. Wasn't he looking down on the great ancestor? Third brother, you were too reckless. If the patriarch learns of this, you'll be in great trouble. Yu Wutian wanted to say that if the patriarch learned of this, their third brother would definitely die. After all, the patriarch and Longao seemed to be old friends at first sight. Although they didn't know what was going on with the patriarch. Big brother, I'm sure you've also seen that Longao is too dangerous. If we don't kill him in time, once he matures in the future, we'll be in great trouble. So I had to take the risk and kill Longao. Before Yu Wudi and Yu Wutian could say anything, Yu Warren continued. Big brother, second brother, I did this very secretly. No one else will know, including the patriarch. Let's act as if nothing happened. Things had already come to this point. Even if they didn't want to, the fact was already set. It was too late to regret. They only hoped that the patriarch wouldn't know of this, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. Big brother, third brother did the right thing. Longao is too dangerous. With such cultivation talent, he'll definitely surpass us in the future. The patriarch is obviously on Longao's side. In order to avoid any trouble in the future, third brother did the right thing. Yu Wutian sighed deeply and said helplessly, I don't know why, but I always have a bad feeling in my heart. I'm sure you've already heard of the legends about Longao. Longao's death. I really don't believe it. Yu Wutian knew very well that if Longao didn't die, then things would be very troublesome. Hearing their big brother's worry, both Yu Warren and Yu Wudi laughed. Yu Warren said with a smile, Big brother, you're worrying too much. I saw with my own eyes that Longao was swallowed by the space crack. I'm sure you know better than me what a space crack means. I don't believe that Longao can survive in a space crack. Third brother is right. Unless the marvelous mathematician and the way of the heavens come in person, no one can survive in a space crack, not even the patriarch. Yu Wudi and Yu Warren were filled with confidence. After all, a space crack was too powerful. Only taboo energy could block it. Other than that, no matter who it was, as long as they were swallowed by a space crack, their chances of survival would be zero. Thinking of this, Yu Wutian also nodded, but he still had a bad premonition in his heart. However, this matter was indeed a bit groundless. If Longao really didn't die, then not to mention the three of them, even if everyone in the entire Tianwu continent, he believed that no one would choose to believe it. It was simply unbelievable. Let's stop here. We'll act as if nothing happened. We can't let the patriarch or the master know, understood? Don't worry, big brother. No one else will know about this. Chapter 1506. Outer Sea. Within the Crystal Palace. Master God Diviner, who had been closing his eyes, suddenly opened his eyes, his expression changing. Longao was swallowed by a spatial tear? Even Master God Diviner couldn't help but be shocked by the results. He was extremely clear on what a spatial tear meant. Others might not know, but as a peak expert of the martial path, he knew that a true spatial tear was actually a taboo energy. If a peak expert was swallowed by a spatial tear, they wouldn't die. They would just lose their way. Anyone below the peak of the martial path would definitely die if they entered a spatial tear. Even Longao was no exception. He shook his head helplessly. Master God Diviner raised his head and looked at the endless sea outside the Crystal Palace. Longao, of all the people here, I'm the only one who can't divine your fate. So I chose you. I hope you won't disappoint me. Master God Diviner closed his eyes once more. The Martial Heaven Continent. Blackwater City was the largest city in a 100-mile radius. The strangest thing was that Blackwater City didn't have the slightest power guarding it. In other words, Blackwater City was a place of joblessness. Anyone could enter Blackwater City and do whatever they wanted. When a treasure appeared in Blackwater City, the 10 Directions cauldrons had all fought over it. In the end, none of the 10 directions cauldrons had obtained the treasure. As for where the treasure was, no one knew. It was precisely because of this. The 10 directions cauldrons had an agreement that no superpower could enter Blackwater City. Anyone who violated this agreement would be attacked by the other 9 superpowers. In the past 1,000 years, Blackwater City had slowly developed, but it didn't belong to the 10 directions cauldrons. As for the other second and third-rate powers, they also didn't dare to enter. As a result, the local experts of Blackwater City slowly formed their own superpowers and dominated Blackwater City. After 1,000 years of development, Blackwater City had 2 superpowers. They were the Qin family and the Wang family. Other than the 2 superpowers, Blackwater City also had dozens of smaller families. However, those smaller families were just vassals of the 2 superpowers. Among the dozens of small family clans, the strongest martial artists were only divine kings. However, the 2 superpowers, whether it was the Qin family or the Wang family, had peak god emperors as their strongest experts. Even so, those 2 families were very powerful. Even in the martial heaven continent, they could be considered second-rate powers. The Zhou family. It was one of the dozens of small clans. You could say that. Among the dozens of clans in Blackwater City, the Zhou clan could only be considered to be at the bottom. The reason was simple. Ever since the fall of the ancestor of the Zhou family, the strongest expert of the Zhou family, Zhou Tian, was only a deity. If not for the deterrence of the 2 great clans, the Zhou clan would have been destroyed. Glaring like a tiger watching its prey. The other small clans were all staring at the Zhou clan. As long as the Qin clan and the Wang clan agreed, the Zhou clan would be divided up in an instant. This was the cruel reality, whether it was an individual, a family, or a sect. The Zhou clan occupied several acres of land. They had rockeries, lotus ponds, and training grounds. Although the Zhou clan was ranked at the bottom of the Blackwater City, they were still one of the oldest clans in the city. In the backyard, at the left corner, in a dilapidated courtyard, a skinny young man was waving his fists as he practiced. The young man's name was Zhou Hao, and he was the son of the Zhou clan's patriarch, Zhou Tian. However, Zhou Hao was not born to be a cultivator. After 10 years of cultivation, he was still at the first sky of the acquired realm. For Zhou Hao, the Zhou clan had spent a lot of effort, but there was still no improvement. Even if Zhou Hao had a patriarch as his father, many people would feel dissatisfied if this continued. Zhou Hao also knew his situation, so he took the initiative to move out of the courtyard, to the most remote area, and quietly cultivated by himself. So what if he was trash? Zhou Hao had always believed that with his own efforts, one day, he would be able to become a powerful warrior. Because of his belief and persistence, Zhou Hao had always persevered and never gave up. Persevere, persevere, I can't give up. Ever since he moved here, Zhou Hao had been harassed by the other disciples of the clan. But even so, Zhou Hao had never told his father about this, because he was too ashamed to say it. As the son of the patriarch, he was a trash in cultivation. This was enough to embarrass his father. He punched out, full of vigor. At this moment, there was a sudden strong fluctuation in space. With a whoosh, before Zhou Hao could react, a black shadow quickly smashed towards him, directly smashing Zhou Hao to the ground. My God, what is this? Enduring the bursts of pain in his body, Zhou Hao turned over the thing on his body. He was startled when he saw it, because the thing that had just smashed him was not an object, but a living person. He was startled. Brother, wake up, who are you? The one who came out of the space crack was none other than Longao. This time, he was forcefully smashed into the space crack by Yuan. Under normal circumstances, he would have died. But what was the result? Even if Yuan and the other 3 were beaten to death, they would never have thought that Longao was so lucky. He was smashed into the space crack and entered the space tunnel. Without the attack of the forbidden power, Longao was forcefully sent out. As for where he was sent to, no one knew. Although Longao was not swallowed by the space crack and died, he was seriously injured and could die at any time. Fortunately, he hit Zhou Hao. If it hit someone else, the consequences would be unimaginable. As for why Longao was so lucky that he was not swallowed by the space crack, the biggest reason was that the mysterious young man in the wordless book helped him. Otherwise, it was really unknown whether Longao could survive. Seeing that Longao did not speak, Zhou Hao was a little helpless. He did not know what kind of bad luck he had today. Fortunately, Zhou Hao was a kind young man and did not give up on Longao. Instead, he carried Longao back to the room and put him on the bed. "I don't know what's going on with you. What should I do now?" Looking at the unconscious young man on the bed, Zhou Hao was a little helpless. For a moment, he did not know what to do. The aura in Longao's body began to circulate on its own. As a supreme cultivation method, as long as Longao was alive, the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique would automatically circulate, and the power of reincarnation would flow throughout his body. In his mind, 9 revolutions reincarnation, fighting against heaven and earth. Then, a burst of information came into Longao's mind. It was the 4th phase of the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique. In other words, this time Longao was swallowed by the space crack. Not only did he not die, but he also benefited from the disaster and successfully broke through the 4th phase of the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique. If Longao woke up, it would be something that he never expected. Chapter 1507. The 9 Revolutions Reincarnation Technique. Longao vaguely remembered what Long Fu said when he taught him the 9 Revolutions Reincarnation Technique. The 9 Revolutions Reincarnation Technique was incomparably powerful. The 9 Revolutions Reincarnation Technique fought against the heavens and earth. When his master completed the 9 Revolutions Reincarnation Technique, he would also step onto the peak of martial arts. Long Fu was looking forward to seeing his master take that step. According to Longao's guess, as long as he could break through the 9th revolution of the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique, he should be able to reproduce the power of origin and break through the peak of martial arts. The 9 revolutions reincarnation technique fought against the heavens and earth. The first revolution reincarnation technique did not enter the Yellow Springs. The second revolution reincarnation technique teleported. The third revolution reincarnation technique. The fourth revolution reincarnation technique. As soon as the information of the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique entered Longao's mind, 8 words appeared. Fourth revolution reincarnation technique. Reincarnation heavenly eye. Fourth revolution reincarnation technique. Reincarnation heavenly eye. The 9 revolutions reincarnation technique operated on its own. The power of reincarnation had already begun to slowly flow throughout Longao's body, limbs, and bones. Even so, Longao was severely injured by the attacks and was swallowed by the spatial crack. His injuries were already very serious, and he was only a step away from death. If he wanted to recover in a short period of time, even if the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique operated on its own, it would still be impossible. In the room, Zhou Hao's expression was very serious because he found that the young man on the bed was getting weaker and weaker, as if he would die at any time. What should he do? "There, it really hurts." A day later, Longao finally made a weak sound. He slowly opened his eyes with difficulty, and saw a young man with a face full of surprise. "You're awake? How do you feel? Who are you? Where is this?" Longao was also a little surprised. At the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief because he already knew that even if he was swallowed by the spatial crack, he did not die. It was a blessing in disguise. Who could survive after being swallowed by the spatial crack? He was probably the first. No one before and no one would be able to surpass him. Zhou Hao smiled and said, "I am Zhou Hao, a disciple of the Zhou family. This is Blackwater City. What's your name?" "Black Wolf." Longao would definitely not reveal his real name. No matter what, he had too many enemies. It was better to be safe than sorry. If his whereabouts were discovered, wouldn't it implicate Zhou Hao? Big Brother Black Wolf, why did you suddenly fall from the sky? You almost smashed me to death. Hearing this, Longao also smiled. Should he tell Zhou Hao that he had come out from a spatial rift? Zhou Hao probably didn't even know what a spatial crack was. Longao had already sensed that the youth who had saved his life was only at the first heaven stage of the Hotian realm. This kind of strength was the lowest level of existence in the Tianwu continent. Tell me about Blackwater City. Zhou Hao was very curious, but since the other party wasn't willing to talk about his background, Zhou Hao tactfully didn't continue to ask. In the following period of time, Zhou Hao roughly told Longao about Blackwater City, including his own family. Hearing that Zhou Hao had persisted for 10 years, Longao was somewhat moved. Zhou Hao's situation was very similar to his own. He was also a trash of the Long family, and was also bullied by others. He also persisted for 10 years. Zhou Hao, wait a few days. When my injuries are slightly better, I will help you to see what's going on. Thank you. Zhou Hao didn't take this matter to heart. After all, he was very clear about the situation of his cultivation. Even if the other party's injuries were healed, could he really help him? Not necessarily. Zhou Hao was very clear about one thing, and that was that the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Zhou Hao, I want to rest. For 3 days, don't let anyone disturb me. Zhou Hao nodded. Zhou Hao didn't say much. He gave Longao some simple things and left the room. Zhou Hao was also very hardworking. He didn't waste a single second and immediately began to cultivate. Just this perseverance and willpower was enough to compete with many people. Longao didn't care too much about Zhou Hao. He knew that if he wanted to help Zhou Hao, he had to first recover from his injuries. Because his injuries were too serious, Longao immediately immersed himself in his recovery. A blessing in disguise? Sensing that the 9 cycle reincarnation technique had successfully broken through to the 4th cycle, Longao was pleasantly surprised. This was because he never expected that after being swallowed by the spatial crack, not only did he not die, but he also successfully broke through to the 4th cycle. His luck was a little too good. The 9 cycle reincarnation technique, the last 5 cycles were still unknown. Unless he could break through the last 5 cycles. As for the first 4 cycles, the first cycle of reincarnation, not entering the yellow spring, the second cycle of reincarnation, teleportation, and the third cycle of reincarnation, reincarnation doppelganger. As for the 4th cycle of reincarnation, Longao was also a little stunned. The 4th cycle of reincarnation, reincarnation heavenly eye. What was this heavenly eye? In the following days, Longao began to sense the reincarnation heavenly eye. After an entire day and night, he gradually figured out where the reincarnation heavenly eye's ability was. The reincarnation heavenly eye could see through all nothingness. Not only that, but it could also intimidate the soul. As long as the difference in realm wasn't too great, the reincarnation heavenly eye could directly disperse the soul of the enemy. Not only that, but the reincarnation heavenly eye could also be upgraded. As for how many more abilities it could produce in the future, even Longao himself didn't know. 3 days later. After 3 days of recuperation, Longao was more or less able to get out of bed and walk. However, he couldn't use his strength. Otherwise, his injuries would backfire and the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao roughly calculated that it would take him at least a month to recover from his injuries. As for using his strength, it would take him another 3 days. Big Brother Black Wolf, are you all right? Shaking his head, Longao said with a smile. At least my life is saved. Brother Zhou, thank you very much this time. You're welcome. You can stay here at ease. Pun. Before Zhou Hao could finish his words, the door was fiercely kicked open. Several fierce-looking youths walked in from outside. Seeing Zhou Hao, the youth walking in front sneered and said, Zhou Hao, I heard that you broke through to the 2nd celestial level? Zhou Tao, the son of Zhou Hao's second uncle, was also the one who bullied Zhou Hao the most. Every few days, he would come looking for trouble. However, Zhou Tao's cultivation had smoothly broken through to the post-celestial realm. Even if there were 10,000 Zhou Haos added together, they still wouldn't be Zhou Tao's opponent. Seeing Zhou Tao barge in, Zhou Hao's face instantly turned gloomy. How could he not know what Zhou Tao was trying to do? Since when had he broken through to the second heavenly layer? Zhou Tao was just looking for an excuse to humiliate him. Standing at the door, Longao only took a glance and already understood the general situation. This kind of thing had never happened before. In the past, he was also bullied every few days. If it wasn't for the dragon seal, he believed that he would still be a trash in the Long family, being bullied by everyone. Zhou Tao, don't go too far. Go too far? Ha! Chapter 1508. Beat him up. Beat him up so hard that even his mother won't recognize him. Okay. Zhou Tao ordered. The 4 or 5 people behind him swarmed forward as if they were already familiar with the routine. Zhou Hao didn't back down at all. His face was resolute. Zhou Hao didn't have the slightest intention of fighting head-on because he knew very well that with his strength, even if he fought head-on, the result would be the same in the end. Let's not talk about Zhou Tao first. Zhou Tao's lackeys were all martial artists in the 5th or 6th heaven. The difference between their realms was too great. But what was the result? Before anyone could get close, they saw a black shadow flash by. Immediately after, there were 5 ear-piercing screams. Before Zhou Tao and Zhou Hao could react, the 5 of them had already been sent flying backward and made the most intimate contact with the ground. What the hell happened? Looking at the 5 people who couldn't get up from the ground and kept screaming, Zhou Tao was a little dumbfounded. He knew Zhou Hao's strength best. What was that black shadow just now? Zhou Hao, you dared to play dirty with me. Before Zhou Tao could finish his words, there were slaps. Zhou Tao didn't know what had happened at all. When he reacted, he found that his face was a little floating, as if it wasn't his. There was a scream. Zhou Tao looked as if he had seen a ghost. He took the 5 lackeys and fled. In the blink of an eye, the 6 figures had disappeared without a trace. He was stunned on the spot. Looking at the gradually disappearing figures, even if Zhou Hao was a fool, he already understood what had happened. If it was in the past, he would inevitably be beaten up today. But this time, the 6 of them were beaten up for no reason. He wouldn't believe that there was nothing strange about it. Turning around and looking at the young man standing at the door, Zhou Hao asked, "Brother Black Wolf, was that you?" He nodded. Without hiding anything, Longao said with a smile, "Seeing you is like seeing me in the past. I couldn't help but make a move. But it wasn't me, it was my brother." The brother that Longao was talking about was Long Chang. Because Longao had devoured the power of destruction, he had gone into seclusion to refine the power of destruction. Under such circumstances, Longao could only use Long Chang's power. "Big Brother Black Wolf, thank you." He didn't ask too much because Zhou Hao knew very well what he should ask and what he shouldn't ask. However, Zhou Hao knew very well that the fact that Big Brother Black Wolf could deal with the 6 of them without alerting anyone was proof of Big Brother Black Wolf's strength. "Brother Zhou, come here. Let me take a look at your condition." If it was in the past, Zhou Hao would definitely not believe it. But now, Zhou Hao walked over obediently. Although Longao had not recovered from his injuries, he still had some strength left in his body. A full 2 hours passed. "Big Brother Black Wolf, I already know my situation. Brother Zhou, your situation is a little special." With a deep sigh, Zhou Hao felt hopeless. If it wasn't for his conviction, he would have chosen to give up after 10 years of perseverance. Looking at Zhou Hao's disappointed face, Longao smiled and said, "Brother Zhou, I have a way to change your physique. According to my calculations, I can turn you into a transformation realm warrior in 10 days at most." Transformation realm? Zhou Hao was shocked because he didn't believe Longao's words at all. Even if he had just seen Longao's strength, he believed that no matter who it was, they wouldn't believe that he could make his cultivation break through the transformation realm within 10 days. Big brother Black Wolf, what's wrong with my body? Zhou Hao really wanted to know what was wrong with his body. After all, his cultivation hadn't improved at all for 10 years. Until now, he still didn't know the reason. Blocked meridians. It's not a difficult problem. Zhou Hao smiled. Xiao Chang, I'll leave Brother Zhou's situation to you. I hope to see him break through the transformation realm in 10 days. Longao trusted Long Chang very much. As for Zhou Hao's situation, it was Long Chang who insisted on it, not him. After all, his injuries were there, and he was powerless to do anything. Big brother, I have something to tell you. A black shadow flashed and Long Chang appeared. Long Chang had successfully broken through the Divine Emperor realm. Not only could he speak human language, but he could also transform into a human form. Long Chang's human form was also that of a young man. He had a tall and sturdy body and a resolute face, giving people a feeling that he was full of explosive power. What's the matter? Longao was very curious. He didn't know what Xiao Chang wanted to talk to him about. Big brother, I want to talk to you alone. Zhou Hao knew very well that the one who attacked him was the one beside Black Wolf. He said, Big brother Black Wolf, I have something to do. I'll leave for a while. I'll be back in half an hour. After Zhou Hao left, Long Chang couldn't wait and said, Big brother, I just told you that Zhou Hao's blocked meridians is not man-made. It's a problem with his physique. A problem? A big problem. Zhou Hao's heart thumped. Longao had just promised Zhou Hao that he would help Zhou Hao break through the transformation realm in 10 days. But Long Chang's words seemed to be a little difficult. Long Chang chuckled and said, Big brother, Zhou Hao's physique is a non-attribute physique. Non-attribute physique? What did that mean? Long Chang's words made Longao confused. He didn't know what non-attribute physique meant. Long Chang, what do you mean by non-attribute physique? Big brother, non-attribute physique is 1 in a million. If a person with this physique doesn't meet a good teacher, he's basically a waste. Not to mention 8 to 10 years of cultivation, even if he cultivated for 10,000 years, he still wouldn't be able to break through the second sky of the Hotian realm. According to you, Zhou Hao won't be able to break through the second sky of the Hotian realm in this lifetime. If that was the case, it would be a big problem. Big brother, you don't have to worry about this. I just said that Zhou Hao's non-attribute physique won't be a waste if he meets me. Instead, he'll become a peerless physique. Zhou Hao's non-attribute physique can quickly absorb any kind of energy. Long Chang thought for a while and continued, Big brother, I have a way that can help Zhou Hao break through the heavenly god realm in 3 days. As for whether he can break through the divine king realm, or even beyond that, it'll depend on Zhou Hao himself. Longao was shocked. He had never thought that Long Chang would have such a way to help Zhou Hao break through the first sky of the Hotian realm to the heavenly god realm in 3 days. What kind of concept was that? Hotian realm, Xiantian realm, transformation realm, nihility realm, illusionary divine realm, great emperor realm, divine realm. Chapter 1509. Breaking through 7 realms and countless realms consecutively. What kind of concept was that? Even though Long Chang said it himself, Longao still found it hard to believe. Long Chang, it's not wise to spoil things with excessive enthusiasm. If they were to forcefully increase Zhou Hao's strength, even without Long Chang, even Longao could do it. They could just forcefully pour in endless energy. However, there would only be one result if they did that. Zhou Hao would explode and die. The chances of him surviving were almost 0. Big brother, it's impossible for normal people, but it's possible for someone with a non-elemental physique. What should we do? If Zhou Hao could really break through to the heavenly god realm from the postnatal realm in 3 days, it would be a great surprise. Big brother, you've killed a lot of divine beasts before. As long as you continue to pour soul energy into Zhou Hao's body and let me personally check, I believe there won't be any problems. Will there be any repercussions? There was no free lunch in the world. Even if Zhou Hao had a special physique, he wouldn't believe that there wouldn't be any repercussions for breaking through 7 realms consecutively in just 3 days. Yes. As expected. Longao had already decided that if the repercussions were serious, he couldn't let Zhou Hao accept it. Big brother, I don't need to say it. I believe you should know that even for someone with a non-elemental physique, it's almost impossible to break through 7 realms in just 3 days by forcefully devouring so much soul energy. Nodding, Longao expressed his agreement. That's right, big brother. According to my guess, if nothing goes wrong, once Zhou Hao devours the endless soul energy and his realm soars, not only will it be difficult for him to cultivate in the future, he might even become a crippled person. Longao had already guessed the first point. If it was too easy in the beginning, it would be 100 or 1,000 times harder in the end. As for being crippled, it did scare Longao. He immediately asked, Xiao Chang, make it clear. Big brother, what I mean is very simple. Once we do that, Zhou Hao will not only lose an arm, but also. After thinking, Long Chang said helplessly, As for the repercussions, I don't know. Could he agree? 1 arm. For a martial artist, this blow was really a little too great. An hour later. Brother Black Wolf, do you really have a way to help me break through to the Xiantian realm? Zhou Hao suddenly asked. Longao nodded helplessly. When do you have a solution? Brother Zhou, let me ask you first, who is the strongest person in your Zhou clan? What's his cultivation? Without hiding anything, Zhou Hao replied. The strongest cultivator of our Zhou clan is my father, Zhou Tian, a man-god cultivator. He was just a human god. However, Longao knew very well that man-god martialists were considered experts among experts in Blackwater City. After all, the strongest expert in Blackwater City was only an emperor-god martialist. Big brother Black Wolf, if you have something to say, just say it. Zhou Hao wasn't a fool. Looking at the hesitant Longao, he had already guessed that Longao definitely had something to say. Zhou Hao, do you want to reach your father's height? Big brother Black Wolf, what do you mean by that? Zhou Hao's heart skipped a beat. If he said that he didn't want to, he would definitely be lying. After all, what did his father's height mean? Zhou Hao was clear in his heart. Let alone him, he believed that his father's height was something that all martial artists dreamed of reaching. Could Big Brother Black Wolf have a solution? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Zhou Hao refused to believe it. For the past 10 years, everyone had been telling him that he was a piece of trash. After 10 years of cultivation and perseverance, he couldn't even reach the 2nd heaven of Hotian state, let alone reach his father's height. Zhou Hao, I have a solution. Within 3 days, you can break through 7 cultivation states consecutively and reach the divine state. Not only can you reach your father's height, you can even surpass him and break through to the heavenly god state. Cough, 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 cough. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, 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 cough. As though he was shocked, Zhou Hao coughed continuously. After all, this was something that could shock the world. To be able to surpass his father in 3 days? Was this for real? Zhou Hao was clear that even with his father's talents, it took him a total of 60 years to reach where he was today. Comparing 3 days to 60 years was something that was unimaginable. Big brother Black Wolf, is what you said for real? Longao was a little helpless. He had already guessed that Zhou Hao would be like this. No matter who heard this, they would have the same expression. Brother Zhou, don't be too happy yet. Even though I have a way to let you surpass your father's height within 3 days, you will have to pay a huge price. As for whether you are willing or not, you can decide for yourself. Big brother Black Wolf, I would like to ask. What is the price that you were talking about? Zhou Hao instantly calmed down because he was very clear that there was no good thing in the world for no reason. After all, according to normal circumstances, not to mention breaking through 7 realms in 3 days and surpassing his father's height. Even breaking through from the Hotian First Sky Realm to the Hotian Second Sky Realm was a very difficult thing. Once your cultivation base breaks through to the Heavenly God state, your cultivation speed will be much slower than others in the future. But I am not worried about this, because I believe in your perseverance. 10 years of perseverance, just like himself. Would such a person choose to give up? Zhou Hao did not speak. He clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were filled with determination. Also, once you devour energy, you will lose an arm. Because you have to find an outlet. Otherwise, your body will explode and you will die. As for the repercussions, even I do not know. At this point, Longao did not continue. He did not want to tell Zhou Hao at first. But after thinking about it, he felt that Zhou Hao's perseverance in the past 10 years had reached an unbelievable height. If such a person were to stay at the first heaven of Hotian state forever, he would not be able to bear it. The rest of the matter would depend on Zhou Hao's choice. For a moment, neither of them said anything. After an unknown period of time, Zhou Hao suddenly raised his head and said with determination, "Big brother Black Wolf, I am willing to accept. To be honest, I was born for the sake of martial arts. For the sake of martial arts, not to mention losing an arm, even if I lose my life, I will not hesitate." Longao was not surprised at all, because he had already guessed that Zhou Hao would be so difficult. If he was in Zhou Hao's shoes, then he would also choose to accept without hesitation. But even so, Longao still asked, "Brother Zhou, have you really thought it through?" "Big brother Black Wolf, I believe that with my perseverance and efforts, I will be able to go further in the future." Chapter 15:10. Since Zhou Hao had already made his choice, Longao did not say anything. Some people were born for the martial Tao. After finding a secluded place, Longao poured the power of the 10 divine beasts into Zhou Hao's body. Under normal circumstances, Zhou Hao would definitely die if he swallowed the power of 10 divine beasts at once. The result would be his body exploding. However, with Long Chang's help, as long as he could find an outlet, the success rate would be above 95%. The outlet was his arm. To forcefully swallow, he would have to break his arm. As for the other side effects, even Long Chang did not know. Taking a step back. Even if his cultivation broke through to the Heavenly God realm, it would be difficult for him to progress in the future. But for a trash, this was enough. The next day, Zhou Hao was fully immersed in his cultivation. In the entire courtyard, only Longao was left. Pun. The door was kicked open. The angry Zhou Tao limped in with dozens of people behind him. It was obvious that they did not come with good intentions. "Sixth brother, it's this person." Zhou Tao was almost certain that the person who injured him yesterday was not Zhou Hao, but the sickly youth in front of him. The entire Zhou family knew that Zhou Hao was a complete trash. For 10 whole years, he could not even break through to the second sky of the Hotian realm. How could such a person hurt him? Zhou Tao's brother, Zhou Wenkai, was ranked 6th in the Zhou family. He was considered one of the top geniuses of the Zhou family. At the age of 25, he had already broken through to the Metamorphosis Human King realm. "Who are you?" Zhou Wenkai was not as stupid as Zhou Tao. He knew very well that the other party's strength should not be too bad since he could defeat his brothers in one move. The most important thing was, the other party dared to make a move in his own family. If the other party's background was not simple, once he provoked someone he should not provoke, then there would be great trouble in the future. "Who I am doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. Sixth brother, this person is too arrogant. You must teach him a lesson. Otherwise, where will our Zhou family's face go?" Zhou Tao had already suffered a loss once, so of course, he did not dare to continue. There was no anger because the more Longao acted like this, the less confident Zhou Wenkai was. "For you to go against my Zhou clan like this, aren't you looking down on the Zhou clan?" The Zhou clan was one of the dozens of clans in Blackwater City, and it was at the bottom. In other words, in Blackwater City, no matter which family it was, they could suppress the Zhou family. Zhou Wakai was very worried. If the other party was a disciple of another family, would he provoke the other family if he acted rashly? I didn't go against the Zhou family. Although he was not afraid of the Zhou family, Longao did not want to fall out with the Zhou family. Firstly, there was no need for him to make things difficult for the Zhou family. After all, he was just a passerby to the Zhou family. Secondly, because of Zhou Hao, it was impossible for him to deal with the Zhou family. Your Excellency. He waved his hand. Longao seemed to be very impatient and said, I just said that I don't have the slightest intention to be enemies with the Zhou clan. It's just that your precious little brother is looking for trouble. Don't provoke me, otherwise. At this point, Longao did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Zhou Wencai's expression changed again and again. In the end, he still decided to leave. Without knowing the other party's identity, he was not willing to take risks. Once he made a mistake, not only him, but even the entire Zhou family would be in big trouble. Let's go. Sixth brother. Shut up. Seeing that his sixth brother was really angry, Zhou Tao did not dare to say anything more, although he was very dissatisfied and unhappy in his heart. Just as everyone was about to leave, Longao suddenly said, All of you, remember, from now on, no matter who it is, don't provoke Zhou Hao. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Not only you, but even the entire Zhou family will be in trouble. I'll remember it. Everyone did not continue to stay. One by one, they filed out. In a short while, everyone had disappeared without a trace. As for Longao, he did not put them in his eyes at all. Not to mention a metamorphosed human king, even if a divine king or divine emperor came, he would not put them in his eyes. This time, not only did he not die after being swallowed by the spatial crack, he even got a blessing in disguise. He successfully broke through the fourth transformation of the 9 transformation reincarnation technique. Not only did he obtain the reincarnation heavenly eye, but his cultivation also broke through the bottleneck and successfully reached the hierarch realm. In other words, Longao was no longer a divine emperor martial artist, but a genuine divine venerable martial artist. Longao was very confident. As long as he recovered from his injuries, not to mention a hierarch, even an emperor god, he would not put them in his eyes. As for a Nirvana realm warrior, Longao roughly calculated that even if his cultivation broke through to the peak divine emperor realm, he would not be able to compete with a Nirvana realm warrior. Only by comprehending heaven and earth with his own cultivation base would he be able to gain a foothold on the martial heaven continent. Not far from the door. Sixth brother, are we just going to let this person go? This person obviously did not put our Zhou family in his eyes. If we just let him go, I'm not willing. Of course, Zhou Tao was not willing to give up so easily. After all, he was almost killed yesterday. It was not easy to get his sixth brother's help, but in the end, even his sixth brother did not dare to deal with this person. Was this true? Zhou Wencai's face was very ugly as he said coldly, This person is not simple. Although I can't confirm his strength, we should not act rashly before we confirm his identity. I'll get someone to investigate his background later. If possible, I won't hold back. Since things had already come to this, even if Zhou Tao was unwilling, he could only choose to retreat. Just like that, Zhou Wencai immediately began to investigate the other party's identity. After all, there were only so many families in Blackwater City. If the other party really had an identity, it would be easy to find out. If this person was not from Blackwater City, then things would be much easier because the 10-direction cauldron had made an agreement that no matter what, they would not enter Blackwater City. Moreover, Zhou Wencai did not believe that this person was from the 10-direction cauldron. As for the other second-rate forces, would their disciples enter Blackwater City? Just like that, before Zhou Wencai could confirm Longao's identity, he would definitely not act rashly. However, Longao came from the dragon sect in the 9 States continent, and no one knew his identity. If that was the case, it would be harder for Zhou Wakai to find out his identity. Time passed quickly. Unknowingly, 3 days had passed. Zhou Hao also successfully came out of seclusion. His cultivation had broken through from the first heaven of the Hotian realm to the heavenly god realm. Chapter 15:11. In a small, dilapidated courtyard. Thank you, Master. Master? Longao was not used to this. He smiled and said, Brother Zhou, we're fated to meet. There's no need for this. From now on, we're brothers. Looking at Black Wolf, Zhou Hao nodded in the end. Big brother Black Wolf. All right. At this moment, Zhou Hao's aura was completely different. Although he had only lost an arm, he had successfully broken through to the god realm. To Zhou Hao, this was like a meat pie falling from the sky. Let alone losing an arm, if his cultivation could rapidly increase, he would not hesitate to lose both arms. As for the other after effects, even Zhou Hao didn't know about it. However, according to Long Chang's calculation, although Zhou Hao had a non-attribute physique, it was impossible to say that there were no after-effects after devouring the power of dozens of mythological beasts. However, Long Chang was very confident that he could help Zhou Hao solve these so-called after-effects. Brother Zhou, although you've successfully broken through to the god realm, you still need to work harder. You need to work harder than others, understand? Big brother Black Wolf, don't worry. I definitely won't let you down. Longao still believed in Zhou Hao. How could someone who was so dedicated to the martial Tao and could persist for 10 years be lazy in cultivation? Ha ha ha, Zhou Hao, I really didn't think that a piece of trash would try to trick me. Today, I'll definitely make you pay the price. At this moment, Zhou Tao and Zhou Wakai rushed in with several dozen people. After 3 days of constant investigation, Zhou Wakai was basically certain that the people Zhou Hao had found were not from Blackwater City, nor were they from any other organization. This way, even if they had some strength, wanting to oppose the entire Zhou family was simply like trying to smash an egg against a rock. They did not know the difference between life and death. Zhou Tao, Zhou Wakai, get out of here. You're not welcome here. As his strength skyrocketed, Zhou Hao's confidence also skyrocketed. If it was any other time, let alone Zhou Tao, just Zhou Wakai alone probably would not dare to do this. This was because the more he resisted, the more he would be beaten up. The two of them didn't seem to be able to react because they never thought that Zhou Hao, who had always been trash, would actually dare to treat them like this. Could it be that he really had something to rely on? Ha ha ha, Zhou Hao, are you trying to rely on the trash behind you? Brother Zhou, remember one thing. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people want to offend you, you don't have to be polite. Otherwise, it will greatly affect your cultivation. Before Zhou Tao could finish, Longao had already interrupted him. Ignoring the two, Zhou Hao replied respectfully. Understood, big brother Black Wolf. This is a matter between me and them. I hope to resolve it myself. After 6 days of recuperation, although Longao's injuries hadn't completely healed, he was able to use a small portion of his strength. It was more than enough to deal with the two of them. However, Longao wasn't prepared to make a move. Just as Zhou Hao had said, this was still the Zhou clan. Seeing Longao nod, Zhou Hao turned around and coldly looked at the two people in front of him. They could also be considered his brothers. Being stared at like this by Zhou Hao, no matter if it was Zhou Wakai or Zhou Tao, they couldn't help but shiver in their hearts. But then the two of them thought, why should they be afraid of a trash? Could it be that they couldn't defeat a Hotian first sky martial artist? What a joke. The biggest joke in the world, the biggest joke in the world. If this matter were to spread out, where would their face go? Courting death. Although Zhou Tao was very afraid of Longao, he didn't put Zhou Hao in his eyes. It was still the same sentence, Zhou Hao was publicly recognized as trash. Not to mention a Xiantian martial artist, any random person could casually defeat Zhou Hao. This was Zhou Hao's strength. It was precisely because of this that Zhou Tao had full confidence. Not to mention attacking with all his strength, he only needed to move his finger, and he could easily deal with Zhou Hao. When the time came, how to humiliate Zhou Hao would be his own business. The result? Just when Zhou Tao was full of confidence, before he could react, his whole body was ruthlessly hit by Zhou Hao. His body flew out upside down, like a kite with a broken string, falling from midair and fiercely smashing into the ground. If Zhou Wenkai hadn't caught Zhou Tao in time, whether Zhou Tao lived or died was really unknown. In the end, Zhou Hao didn't kill him. No matter what, he and Zhou Tao were members of the Zhou family. Once he killed Zhou Tao, not to mention the others, just his own father, how could he face him? This time, Zhou Wenkai and the others were completely dumbfounded. One by one, they stared blankly at Zhou Hao who had just attacked. This was Zhou Hao. Was this still the trash that was bullied by everyone? Defeating Zhou Tao in one move, this kind of strength, even if it was himself, he was afraid that he couldn't do it so quickly. Could it be that Zhou Hao's cultivation had already surpassed his? Impossible, this was impossible. Zhou Wenkai really didn't want to believe it. Even if Zhou Hao had already gotten rid of the title of trash, even if Zhou Hao's cultivation talent was extraordinary, and he was a 1 in a million genius, it was impossible for him to directly advance from the first sky of the Hotian realm to the point where he could defeat his own brother in one move in just a few days. Not to mention himself, no matter who it was, they wouldn't choose to believe it. Even if it was Zhou Wenkai, if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Trash? Genius? Was Zhou Hao trash or a genius? If it was yesterday, Zhou Wenkai would have definitely told himself without hesitation that Zhou Hao was trash, not only trash, but also the #1 trash in Heishui City. No one could compare to him. But now, Zhou Wenkai foolishly looked at Zhou Hao in front of him, swallowing his saliva, and coldly said, "Zhou Hao, you really have hidden your strength." Very good, very good. Zhou Wenkai wasn't a fool. He could almost be sure that since Zhou Hao had persisted for 10 years without successfully breaking through, then he was definitely trash. As for why he had advanced so quickly at this time, there was no doubt that it was related to the youth behind Zhou Hao. Originally, he didn't put the other in his eyes, but Zhou Hao's sudden counterattack made Zhou Wenkai a little uncertain. Who was the other, and how could he help Zhou Hao advance so quickly? Get out, from now on, no matter who it is, as long as they dare to take one step in my place, I will kill without mercy. After enduring for 10 years, at this moment, Zhou Hao had completely exploded. If it was the Zhou Hao from a few days ago, Zhou Wenkai believed that he wouldn't even put him in his eyes. But with the example of his own brother, if Zhou Wenkai said that he wasn't afraid, then he would definitely be lying. Leave? Or not? In the end, Zhou Wenkai still chose not to leave, because if he left now, not only would he lose face, but in the future, his status in the Zhou family would also be lost. Moreover, in Zhou Wencai's opinion, even if Zhou Hao could defeat his brother in one move, he might not be able to defeat himself. After all, the Xiantian realm and the transformation realm were two completely different realms. The difference was very big. Fight. Zhou Hao had already seen through Zhou Wencai's intention at a glance, and smiled helplessly. He was now a genuine heavenly god expert, unless a supreme divine expert came in person, otherwise, no one could be his opponent. In the entire Zhou family, he was an invincible existence. One move! One move? Of course, Zhou Wenkai knew what Zhou Hao meant. Wasn't the other party a little too arrogant, wanting to defeat him in one move? Was it possible? Zhou Wenkai was full of confidence. With his current strength, even an earthly emperor expert couldn't defeat him in one move, unless it was a Dao ancestor expert. Zhou Hao was a Dao ancestor expert. Zhou Wenkai didn't believe it, he absolutely didn't believe it. Without the slightest hesitation, Zhou Wenkai directly rushed out, because he didn't know why, but he always had a feeling in his heart that with his strength, he believed that he was no match for Zhou Hao. Because of this, Zhou Wenkai chose to take the initiative. In this way, he might have a slight chance. However, Zhou Wenkai still underestimated Zhou Hao. With a flash, Zhou Hao's body appeared in front of him. Ah! Looking at Zhou Hao, who was close by, Zhou Wenkai was shocked because he never thought that Zhou Wencai's speed would be so fast. He didn't dare to be careless, and directly punched out, while Zhou Hao also punched out. The two fists collided, and Zhou Wencai's body was also sent flying, but Zhou Hao still didn't kill him. Get lost. Taking a few steps back, Zhou Wenkai looked at Zhou Hao in front of him in shock. His trash younger brother had grown to such a powerful extent in just a few days. It was unbelievable, even more unimaginable. He didn't dare to stay in the slightest. Under such circumstances, face was no longer a consideration, because Zhou Wenkai was very clear that if he stayed for one more minute, he believed that Zhou Hao would kill him. Looking at the gradually disappearing figures, Zhou Hao finally breathed a sigh of relief. Although his cultivation had smoothly broken through to the heavenly god realm, this battle was only his first battle. Thank you, Big Brother Black Wolf, for your help. Zhou Hao knew that the reason he could have today's strength was all because of the young man in front of him. Otherwise, he would still be a trash who was bullied by everyone. An arm in exchange for the strength of a heavenly god. In Zhou Hao's opinion, this trade was worth it. Moreover, he had already guessed that this Big Brother Black Wolf in front of him was definitely not an ordinary person. Could it be that Big Brother Black Wolf was a supreme divine expert? Although he felt that this was a little unlikely, Zhou Hao believed in his own intuition. A supreme divine expert, even in Blackwater City, was a super powerhouse. If his family could have a supreme divine expert, then his family's status would immediately rise. Even if they couldn't dominate Blackwater City, at least they wouldn't continue to be at the bottom. Brother Zhou, although your cultivation has already broken through to the heavenly god realm, if you encounter a cultivator of the same level, it will be very difficult for you to win. Big Brother Black Wolf, then what should I do? Of course Zhou Hao didn't want to be like this, and since Big Brother Black Wolf was like this, then there was no doubt that Big Brother Black Wolf had a way to help him. Chapter 1512. Brother Zhou, I will now teach you a cultivation technique and 2 martial skills. Cultivation technique and martial skills? He was overjoyed. Warriors, other than their own realm, the most important thing was martial skills and cultivation techniques. Thank you, Big Brother Black Wolf. The cultivation technique is called Emperor Dragon Technique. As for the 2 martial skills, they are Destruction Seal and Emperor Dragon's 9 kills. Whether it was Destruction Seal or Emperor Dragon's 9 kills, they were Longao's guard martial skills. For Longao to be able to teach these 2 martial skills to Zhou Hao, it was enough to see how Longao treated Zhou Hao. Firstly, Zhou Hao had saved him. Secondly, Zhou Hao's dedication to martial arts, especially his 10 years of persistence, was what he valued the most. In the following time, Longao taught the cultivation technique and martial skills with all his might. Zhou Hao also wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. The news of Zhou Hao defeating Zhou Wenkai in one move had already spread throughout the Zhou family. Trash becoming a genius, and even a Nihility Realm warrior, no one who heard the news chose to believe it. 10 years of Trash, in just a few days became a Nihility Realm warrior? According to the rumors, it was said that Zhou Hao was able to become a Nihility Realm warrior with the help of a mysterious youth. The Zhou family's Zhou Tian, who was Zhou Hao's father, knew that things were not that simple. After all, as his father, he was the clearest about his son's situation. To be able to help his son, in just a few days, from the first sky of the Hotian realm to the Nihility realm, the other party's strength was already indescribable. He could not neglect. Zhou Tian was afraid of disturbing the mysterious expert, so he only brought 6 elders, 2 spirit-focused realm warriors and 4 nihility realm warriors. This was also the Zhou family's most powerful force. Zhou family's patriarch Zhou Tian greets Senior. The 7 of them had just stepped into the courtyard when they saw the youth sitting on the stone bench. Dressed in black, with a head of blood-red hair, his resolute face was filled with determination. His entire person seemed to be enveloped by an invisible current. Even the 7 of them could not see his strength. He was startled. Under such circumstances, the 7 of them could almost be sure that the youth in front of them was not an ordinary person. Could he be a divine path warrior? Or was it a supreme Tao warrior? Peerless divine Tao, it was impossible. The young man in front of them might be a heavenly god realm cultivator. If that was the case, it would be great news for the Zhou clan. Father! Zhou Hao was a little surprised to see his father and 6 other elders. Casually nodding his head, Longao said indifferently, Patriarch Zhou, please take a seat. Please! Zhou Tian sat down. The 6 elders behind him seemed to be in a bad mood. As the elders of the Zhou family, they were all supreme Tao martial artists. Even in Blackwater City, they were also lofty existences. When had they ever been disregarded like this? Longao did not care, because in his eyes, deity Tao martial artists were no different from ants. As for Zhou Tian, Longao didn't choose him because of his status, but because he was Zhou Hao's father. He gave the 6 of them a look, and they had no choice but to endure it. Still the same words, until now, they still didn't know who the other party was. Once they provoke someone they shouldn't provoke, wouldn't they be looking for trouble for themselves? The 6 of them were all old foxes. To be able to help Zhou Hao break through so many realms in just a few days, the young man was definitely not simple. Caution is the parent of safety. How should I address you? Black Wolf. Black Wolf? There was no such person in Blackwater City. Hearing the other party's name, Zhou Tian could almost be sure that the other party was not from Blackwater City, but from outside. Could it be the 10-direction tripod? It was a little unlikely. After all, 1,000 years ago, the 10-direction tripod had made an agreement that no matter what happened, they would not enter Blackwater City. For 1,000 years, no 10-direction tripod disciple had come to Blackwater City. Father, this is Big Brother Black Wolf. Thanks to Big Brother Black Wolf's help, your son's strength could soar this time. Thank you, Mr. Black Wolf, for helping my son. You're welcome. Brother Zhou and I hit it off. Zhou Tian couldn't confirm the other party's identity or strength. This made him feel a little helpless because the other party's strength directly determined his attitude, and also the attitude of the entire family. However, Zhou Tian could be sure of one thing, and that was that his son's strength had soared. From now on, Zhou Hao was not only not a good-for-nothing, he might even become a genius of the Zhou family. Mr. Black Wolf, you rest first. I have something to discuss with Hao. Go ahead. Longao knew very well why Zhou Tian was looking for Zhou Hao, so it didn't matter. Longao slowly closed his eyes and closed them, basking in the sunlight. Zhou Hao gave his father a look, and carefully left with him. After a while, everyone had disappeared without a trace. Opening his eyes, Longao smiled helplessly, then closed his eyes again as if he had fallen asleep. Zhou family main hall. Hao, tell your father honestly. What level of cultivation have you reached right now? Even now, the 7 of them still found it rather hard to believe that Zhou Hao had actually broken through to the nothingness realm. After all, this was just too unbelievable. Let alone hearsay, even if they had seen it with their own eyes, they might not have believed it. Should he tell the truth? Zhou Hao knew very well that if he told his father and the 6 elders that he had already reached the God realm, they would probably be frightened to death. This was because the strongest person in the entire Zhou family, his father, was only a deity. In other words, his current strength had even surpassed his father's. However, since things had already developed to this point, Zhou Hao did not want to hide it. He said, "My talent is limited. Even with Big Brother Black Wolf's help, my cultivation has only reached the Divine Way realm. I can't go any further. Big Brother Black Wolf said that if I want to continue breaking through, it'll depend on my luck. Even he is powerless. Divine Way? Hearing the two words Divine Tao, all 7 of them cried out in surprise. Because they were very clear about what the Divine Tao realm meant. If a 9th heaven demigod broke through to the Divine Tao realm, they wouldn't be surprised in the slightest because it was a matter of course. However, what about the current situation? A few days ago, Zhou was still a piece of trash who could not even break through to the 2nd heaven of the Hotian realm. Everyone laughed at him, but what was the result? In just a few days, Zhou's cultivation had broken through to the Divine Way realm from the 1st heaven of the Hotian realm. Was this true? How or is this true? Don't lie to your father. Knowing that this would happen, Zhou shrugged helplessly and said, My cultivation has indeed broken through to the Divine Way realm. It's all thanks to Big Brother Black Wolf's help. Chapter 15-13 Divine Path Realm. After the 7 of them confirmed it again, they were all shocked. Howard, do you know who this Black Wolf is? The 7 of them were not fools. They knew very well that to be able to raise Howard's cultivation from the acquired realm to the Divine Path realm in just a few days, no ordinary person could do it. The 7 of them asked themselves in their hearts, could they do it? Without a doubt, no matter who it was, they could not do it. They shook their heads. Zhou said honestly, Father, I don't know either. Then how do you know this senior? The strong were respected. Even though Longao looked very young, his strength was obvious. Father, I went up 3 days ago. Zhou would definitely not tell the truth, so he casually made up a story. Under such circumstances, the 7 of them did not have the slightest doubt. Howard, although I can't be sure of Black Wolf's strength now, I can be sure that this person is not simple. The 6 elders nodded their heads in agreement. Father, I know. You leave first. I still have something to do. Yes. Zhou did not continue to stay. He turned around and left slowly. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. There were only 7 people left in the hall. The Zhou family head, Zhou Tian, and the 6 elders. What do you think of this? A black wolf suddenly appeared in the family, a mysterious expert. Even Zhou Tian was a little unprepared. However, the only thing he could be sure of was that Black Wolf and the Zhou family were friends and not enemies. After all, Black Wolf helped Howard, which already explained everything. Family head, the 6 of us agree that Black Wolf's strength is not simple. If there is no accident, Black Wolf should be a warrior at the peak of the Divine Realm. A warrior at the peak of the Divine Realm? Was he only at the peak of the Divine Realm? Zhou Tian had a feeling that the so-called Black Wolf might not only be at the peak of the Divine Realm. Elders, if Black Wolf is at the Supreme Divine Path Realm, do you think it is possible? The 6 of them looked at each other, and saw a trace of determination in each other's eyes. Impossible. The 6 people's answers were almost the same. After all, the Supreme Divine Tao and the Divine Tao were 2 different concepts. The difference was too great. The Supreme Divine Tao and the Supreme Divine Tao were simply an insurmountable gap. Patriarch, Black Wolf should be a heavenly god. The reason why he was able to help Howard break through so quickly is because he has some sort of divine ability, or some sort of super god weapon. Looking at the 6 people in front of him, Zhou Tian instantly guessed their intentions. In the end, Black Wolf was still too young. Not to mention the 6 of them, even Zhou Tian didn't quite believe it. Not to mention the Supreme Divine Tao, even the Divine Tao didn't quite believe it. Black Wolf looked to be in his early 20s at most. Even if he was the #1 genius of Blackwater City, he would only be able to reach the Void Realm at most. Patriarch, the most important thing now is to keep this person here. I know that, but this person is very indifferent to our Zhou clan. Hearing this, the 6 of them laughed. Patriarch, It doesn't matter whether Black Wolf is interested in our Zhou clan or not. The most important thing is that Black Wolf values Hao a lot. In this way, we can keep this person here." Zhou Tian remained silent because what the six of them said was exactly what he meant. No matter what this person's strength is, this divine ability alone is enough to look down on the world. If we can use this divine ability to create a few more supreme divine Dao warriors, it will undoubtedly be a great thing for our Zhou clan. Ever since they knew about Longao's matter, the entire Zhou clan's attitude towards Zhou Hao had taken a 180-degree turn. Whether it was Black Wolf's deterrence, or Zhou Hao's current strength, it was enough for the Zhou clan to pay attention to him. Zhou Hao's cultivation had already reached the supreme divine Dao realm. This news was like a bomb that was ruthlessly thrown into the Zhou clan, causing a huge commotion. As for Zhou Tian and the other six, Zhou Hao said that his cultivation had already reached the supreme divine Dao realm. In the eyes of the seven of them, they would never have thought that Zhou Tian's cultivation could reach the heavenly God realm. After all, this was a little unbelievable. The seven of them unanimously thought that Zhou Hao had just reached the supreme divine Dao realm, which was the so-called empty God realm. The 5 realms of the supreme divine Dao realm. In order of strength, they were the empty God realm, Spirit Focus realm, Human God realm, Earth God realm, and Heavenly God realm. The difference of one realm was like 108,000 miles. The number 1 expert of the Zhou clan, the patriarch of the Zhou clan, was only at the peak Human God realm. If the 7 of them knew that Zhou Hao's cultivation was not at the empty God realm, but at the peak Heavenly God realm, the 7 of them might be scared to death. Ever since the news of Zhou Hao's breakthrough to the supreme divine Dao realm spread, the small courtyard was directly listed as a forbidden area of the Zhou clan. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to enter without permission. Those who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. Zhou Hao's status skyrocketed, causing everyone to be a little uncomfortable, especially Zhou Tao and Zhou Wenkai. The 2 of them knew very well that they could not seek revenge on Zhou Hao. Otherwise, they would be digging their own graves. With no one to disturb him, Zhou Hao wholeheartedly cultivated his cultivation method and martial skills. However, just as Long Chang said, Zhou Hao had forcefully devoured the divine beast's energy. Although his cultivation had directly broken through from the acquired realm to the heavenly God realm in just 3 days, it was as difficult as ascending the heavens to continue to break through. Even if it was cultivation method and martial skills, it was 100 times more difficult for Zhou Hao than others. If it were others, they would have chosen to give up long ago. Only Zhou Hao was a person who was obsessed with martial skills, a person who would never give up. Just like that, Long Chang temporarily settled down in the Zhou clan. He guided Zhou Hao in his cultivation while recovering from his injuries. In the blink of an eye, 14 days passed quietly. Calculating the time, it had been half a month since Long Chang fell into the Zhou clan. After recuperating, Long Chang's injuries had recovered by 60%, which was faster than expected. Long Chang was very clear about the condition of his body. At most, he would be able to recover to his best state in 10 days. This time, he was swallowed by the space crack and was attacked by Yi Wuren. Even if he recovered, he was afraid that there would be some backlash. As for how severe it would be, he still did not know. The news that Long Chang had helped Zhou Hao break through from the acquired realm to the Divine Wei realm in just a few days was directly blocked by the Zhou clan. However, this matter was too unbelievable. Even if they wanted to block it, it was still a little difficult. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. Moreover, it was impossible for such a big Zhou clan to block it completely. It was simply unrealistic. Precisely because of this, 14 days later, the news that Black Wolf had helped Zhou Hao break through to the Divine Wei realm still spread out. It spread throughout the entire Blackwater city, causing everyone in the city to know about it. Chapter 15-14. Zhou Hao. Zhou family's trash, Blackwater City's #1 trash. He persisted for 10 years but couldn't even break through the second sky of the acquired realm. What did that mean? Almost everyone in Blackwater City thought that Zhou Hao couldn't even break through the second sky of the acquired realm in his lifetime. But the result? In just a few days, Zhou Hao broke through to the Supreme Tao realm from the first sky of the acquired realm. 99% of the people chose not to believe it. Blackwater City. Qin family and Wang family were the overlords of Blackwater City. No one dared to offend them. Qin family's patriarch Qin Chuan and Wang family's patriarch Wang Jian were both peak Emperor God warriors. They were only one step away from breaking through to the Nirvana realm. It could be said that they were the strongest warriors in Blackwater City. They could cover the sky with one hand. No matter if it was Qin family or Wang family, both families were extremely shocked when they received the news of Zhou Hao breaking through to the Supreme Tao realm. Both families came to Zhou family at the same time. Qin Chuan and Wang Jian looked at each other. The two old foxes sneered in their hearts. How could they not know the purpose of each other's visit? Brother Qin, we'll split Black Wolf's supernatural power. How about that? I have the same idea. When the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. The two of them instantly came to an agreement because they were very clear that once the two clans started a war over He Lang's divine ability, it would only cause both clans to suffer losses. At that time, it would only give others an opportunity to take advantage of the situation. Zhou family. In the main hall, Zhou Tian and the others were surprised when they heard that the patriarch of Qin family and Wang family had come. However, it was within their expectations. It was impossible for the two families not to be alarmed by such supernatural power. The 7 of them just didn't expect the two families to come so quickly. Patriarchs, please excuse me for not coming out to greet you. Ha ha ha, Brother Zhou, don't be so polite. We came this time because we have something to trouble you. Normally, the two of them wouldn't even put Zhou Tian in their eyes. They were both family heads, but the difference in status between them was like heaven and earth. They were not on the same level. Zhou Tian smiled helplessly in his heart and scolded them fiercely. If it wasn't for Black Wolf, would the two of them be so polite to him? Patriarchs, what do you need me to do for you? No matter what it is, as long as I can do it, I will do it. The two of them seemed very satisfied with Zhou Tian's attitude. Getting straight to the point, the two of them did not beat around the bush at all. They had a look of superiority on their faces. Brother Zhou, I heard that your Zhou family invited a Mr. Black Wolf to help your son break through to the Supreme Tao realm in just a few days. Is this true? Zhou Tian wished he could say no. But was it okay to say no? Zhou Tian was very clear that it was impossible. Since the two of them had come to the family in person, there was no doubt that the two of them must have known the inside story. They had tried their best to suppress the news, but in the end, it was still leaked out. If that was the case, what was the point of hiding it? Meaningless things. He nodded. Zhou Tian also told the truth. That's right. However, you two may not know that Mr. Black Wolf was not invited by our Zhou family. Shower found him from somewhere. As for what exactly happened, to be honest, I don't know either. That was the truth. Whether it was Qin Chuan or Wang Jian, the two of them did not have the slightest doubt. Because in front of the two great families, if Zhou Tian dared to play any tricks, he would not be able to bear the consequences. As the strongest families in Blackwater City, the two great families' strength was obvious. If the two great clans joined forces, it would be a piece of cake for them to destroy the Zhou clan. It would only take a few minutes. Brother Zhou, can you introduce us to this Mr. Black Wolf? How could he not agree? Zhou Tian sighed deeply in his heart. Helpless, he said helplessly. Patriarchs, please. Qin Chuan and Wang Jian were both delighted. The two of them looked at each other. Without any hesitation, the two of them followed Zhou Tian out of the hall and walked all the way to the most remote courtyard. This time, Wang Jian and Qin Chuan came personally. They did not bring anyone else with them. There were too many people. A group of 9 people walked towards Zhou Hao's courtyard in a grandiose manner. In about a few minutes, the 9 of them had already arrived outside the courtyard. Patriarchs, I'll go and inform them first. Inform? They did not think so. As peak Emperor God warriors, unless a Nirvana realm warrior came personally, the 2 of them were not afraid of anyone else. The title of the strongest in Blackwater City was not just for show. The 2 of them did not want to get into trouble. Because the purpose of their visit this time was to obtain the other party's divine ability. If it was not necessary, the 2 of them would not casually make a move. Brother Zhou, please. Zhou Tian did not enter personally. Instead, he used his spiritual consciousness to send a message to his son and roughly explained the situation. As for Zhou Tian himself, of course, he did not want Black Wolf to meet the 2 of them. After all, no one was willing to share good things with others. In Qin Chuan and Zhou Jian's opinion, Black Wolf's age was obvious. Even if he was gifted, even if he was one of the top 10 disciples, it was impossible for him to reach the so-called Supreme Divine Realm at such a young age. At most, he could reach the peak Divine Realm. Such strength, in front of them, was just like an ant. In the courtyard, Brother Black Wolf, Wang family's patriarch Wang Jian and Qin family's patriarch Qin Chuan have come personally to meet you. Zhou Hao and Longao had already guessed their intentions. Go out and tell them that no matter who it is, I will not meet them. Brother Black Wolf, if we do so, once we offend the 2 patriarchs, we will be in big trouble. Zhou Hao was very clear about the abilities of the 2 family heads. They were both peak Emperor God experts, and were almost the strongest experts in Blackwater City. Moreover, the 2 of them had Wang clan and Qin clan behind them. Even if the 2 clans were to join forces, Zhou Hao wouldn't be able to contend against them. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about other things. How could Longao not know what Zhou Hao meant? If it was a few days ago, perhaps he would be afraid of Emperor God warriors. However, now that he had recovered 60% of his strength, it was more than enough to deal with Emperor God warriors. Moreover, he had Long Chang's help. There was no problem in dealing with Emperor God warriors. Leaving the courtyard. How, what did Mr. Black Wolf say? Zhou Tian could not wait. He did not know whether Black Wolf would meet him or not. After all, Zhou Tian was extremely unwilling. However, due to the deterrence of the 2 patriarchs, even if he was extremely unhappy, he could only brace himself. Wang Jian and Qin Chuan were also a little anxious. Because once they obtained such a remarkable ability, it would undoubtedly be the greatest help to the 2 patriarchs. It was simply unbelievable that even a first heaven Hotian warrior could directly break through to the Supreme Divine Realm. Chapter 15:15. No. No? Qin Chuan and Wang Jian's faces darkened when they heard that Black Wolf was not going to meet them. Who were the 2 of them? One was the patriarch of the Wang clan, and the other was the patriarch of the Qin clan. The 2 of them were the overlords of Blackwater City, and they were also the strongest warriors in Blackwater City. With their identities, they had come personally, but Black Wolf refused to meet them. What was the meaning of this? Black Wolf had made it clear that he did not care about the 2 of them. Patriarchs, Mr. Black Wolf is injured. We should not disturb Mr. Black Wolf. We'll come again another day. Come again another day? Where was their dignity? The 2 of them looked at each other and saw a trace of anger in each other's eyes. If they left like this, the consequences would be unimaginable. Zhou Hao, please inform him that the Wang clan and the Qin clan are here to meet him. If it was any other time, the 2 of them would not even say a word to Zhou Hao. They were in a dilemma. Black Wolf had already said that he was not going to meet them. If they continued to inform him, wouldn't it be unnecessary? He did not move. Hao! Seeing that his son did not move at all, Zhou Tian was somewhat worried. After all, the 2 people in front of him were the absolute overlords of Blackwater City. Once they were angered, not only Zhou Hao and He Lang, but even Zhou Tian and his family would be in great trouble. Patriarchs, Black Wolf has already said that he is not going to meet you. Good, good, good. The two of them did not expect that even a small Zhou Hao would dare to speak to them like this. He was simply looking down on them. Even if Zhou Hao's cultivation had skyrocketed, he was still a small divine realm warrior. In front of the two of them, Zhou Hao was still an ant. Zhou Tian also did not expect his son to be so domineering. Could it be that his son really had something to rely on? Even so, Zhou Tian was still a little worried. He only hoped that the two clans would be wary of Black Wolf and would not casually make a move. Wang Jian said "good" 3 times, emitting a trace of killing intent. Patriarchs! He waved his hand. Without giving Zhou Tian a chance to speak, Wang Jian said, "Zhou Hao, I'm giving you one last chance. Go in and tell Black Wolf that the Wangs and the Qins want to see him." The two of them were really angry. Black Wolf didn't even give them face. No matter what, they had to meet this Mr. Black Wolf today. No. Zhou Hao was not afraid at all. He still only said 2 words. "I won't see you." This time, whether it was the two of them or Zhou Tian, they were completely shocked. Qin Chuan sneered and said, "Zhou Hao, don't think that you can look down on everyone just because your cultivation has broken through to the divine Dao realm. Do you know who you are talking to?" Zhou Hao didn't say anything, but he didn't have the slightest intention of moving. "How?" "Father, I know what I should do and what I shouldn't do." Since his son had already said so, what else could Zhou Tian say? "If you don't teach this junior a lesson, I'm afraid the order of Blackwater City will fall into chaos." Hearing Qin Chuan's words, Zhou Tian was shocked. Before Zhou Tian could say anything, the tightly shut doors slowly opened. Longao lazily walked out from the courtyard. "Brother Black Wolf. It's okay. You are Black Wolf?" Looking at such a young man in front of them, both Wang Jian and Qin Chuan were very surprised. They were also very sure that such a young man would at most be in the Divine Dao realm. They didn't believe that Black Wolf was the so-called Supreme Divine Dao warrior. If so, they didn't have the slightest fear. So what if I am? So what if I'm not? Arrogant. Zhou Tian also didn't expect Black Wolf to be so arrogant. After all, this was the Zhou clan. Once both sides attacked, the clan would be the first to suffer. "Black Wolf, please. I'm not free." Wang Jian and Qin Chuan couldn't take it lying down after being humiliated by the other party. However, for the sake of the divine ability, the two of them still forcefully endured it. Qin Chuan smiled and said, "Mr. Black Wolf, I heard that because of your help, nephew Zhou Hao, who had always been unable to break through, actually directly advanced to the Divine Dao realm in a short few days. The two of us really want to know what method you used exactly?" Just as expected. The 2 patriarchs of the 2 great clans came at the same time. Longao had already guessed that if it was 3 days ago, he might be afraid of them. However, his injuries had already recovered by 70%. If he joined forces with Long Chang, there was no doubt that it was more than enough to deal with 2 Divine Emperor Realm warriors. If it was an ordinary Divine Venerable Realm warrior, it would be impossible for him to fight against an Divine Emperor Realm warrior. After all, the difference of 1 level was like 108,000 miles. It was like an insurmountable gap. However, Longao's situation was completely different. Although Longao was only in the Divine Venerable Realm, with various divine arts and various trump cards, Longao was confident that he could even fight and kill a Divine Emperor Realm warrior. This was the confidence brought by strength. "Why should I tell you my method? I have something to do now. You can leave. Otherwise..." Longao did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. "Black Wolf, do you know who we are?" One was the patriarch of the Wang clan and the other was the patriarch of the Qin clan. Both of them were famous super figures in Blackwater City. No matter where they went, they were known by everyone. In their opinion, they had already shown enough respect to Black Wolf by coming to the Zhou clan. As long as Black Wolf understood the situation, he would definitely obediently hand over the method to raise his cultivation. But what happened in the end? Black Wolf did not put them in his eyes at all. If they left just like that, where would their dignity go? Where would the Wang clan and Qin clan's dignity go? They sneered. If it wasn't for the other party's method of raising his cultivation, they would have already attacked him. Black Wolf. Longao did not want to listen to them anymore. He turned around and led Zhou Hao back to the courtyard. Then, he closed the door tightly, not giving them any face at all. It was as if they were air. Wang Jian and Qin Chuan's faces were extremely gloomy as they looked at the disappearing silhouette. However, the more Longao acted like this, the more fearful they were. Could it be that Black Wolf had something to rely on? Otherwise, why would he not put them in his eyes? Brother Zhou, where did this person come from? Where did he come from? Somewhat helpless, Zhou Tian wanted to ask the two of them where Black Wolf came from. However, Zhou Tian was almost certain of one thing, and that was that Black Wolf was on the Zhou clan's side. With this living bodhisattva here, it might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the Zhou clan. Patriarchs, I really don't know. I also want to know where he came from. Chapter 15-16. Both of them stared at Zhou Tian. Being stared at by two emperor gods, Zhou Tian felt a chill run down his spine. Zhou Tian knew his limits. With his strength, even if he fought alone, he wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from the other party. This was the difference between a man-god and an emperor-god. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. We choose to believe in Brother Zhou. Hearing this, Zhou Tian finally heaved a sigh of relief. Until this moment, Zhou Tian thought that Black Wolf was only a Supreme Tao warrior. The reason why he could help Hao break through to the Supreme Tao realm in a few days was because of some secret technique. A Supreme Tao warrior couldn't go against the two families. Not to mention the two families, even a Supreme Tao warrior in the Zhou family had no deterrence. If he had to choose between the two families and Black Wolf, Zhou Tian would choose the two families without hesitation and not Black Wolf. Time froze. Black Wolf's arrogance and disregard caused a stalemate. If it were someone else, would the two patriarchs be so patient? In the end, it was because Longao was too calm that the two patriarchs didn't dare to act rashly. In the main hall. In the end, both of them chose to give up because they didn't have the confidence. If Longao was only a Supreme Tao warrior, there could only be one reason why he dared to be so arrogant and disregard them. Longao had a backer. The two of them weren't sure who the backer of Black Wolf was. Even if it wasn't the 10-direction tripod, they wouldn't dare to provoke an ordinary second-rate force. 1,000 years ago, the 10-direction tripod made an agreement that no matter which super force it was, they couldn't enter Blackwater City without permission. Since that was the case, the two of them could almost be sure that Black Wolf wasn't from the 10-direction tripod. The 10-direction tripod couldn't enter Blackwater City, but that didn't mean that second-rate forces couldn't. But one had to know. Among the second-rate forces in Sky Martial Continent, the top 3 had Nirvana Realm warriors. If Black Wolf was from such a force, Blackwater City couldn't go against him. Brother Wang, what should we do next? Black Wolf had disappeared and his identity could not be ascertained. Under such circumstances, no one dared to act recklessly. Was he supposed to just sit there like this? Where would he put his face? Wang Jian thought for a moment and said helplessly, "We can't just sit and wait for death like this. Why don't we join forces and take a risk?" "What does that mean?" Zhou Tian and Qin Chuan were curious. They did not know what Wang Jian meant by that. "We can't confirm Black Wolf's identity right now, but according to Brother Zhou, Black Wolf should have been seriously injured and hid in Blackwater City. If we take care of Black Wolf without anyone knowing, even if he has a backer, I'm afraid no one will know." This was a huge risk. The two of them already knew what Wang Jian meant. "Brother Wang, I already understand what you mean. But the matter of Black Wolf assisting Zhou Hao to break through to the divine Tao realm has already spread throughout the entire Blackwater City. Once we make a move, it's extremely difficult to conceal this matter. Without waiting for Wang Jian to speak, Qin Chuan continued. It's better to be safe than sorry. If Black Wolf's identity is really not simple, and if Black Wolf has a backer, we'll be in big trouble. The two of them looked at each other before looking at Zhou Tian. Brother Zhou, what do you think? Zhou Tian was not a fool. Of course, he would not interfere in this matter. After all, no matter what the outcome was, the Zhou family would be the one to suffer in the end. Patriarchs, to be honest, our Zhou family is really unwilling to interfere in this matter. Our Zhou family also does not want to get involved in Black Wolf's cultivation method. I hope the two of you can forgive us. The two of them laughed. In the end, Zhou Tian was still afraid. The two of them did not force the Zhou family. No matter what, among the many families in Blackwater City, the Zhou family was at the bottom. The current Zhou family could not even take care of themselves. Not to mention Zhou Tian, anyone would choose to withdraw. The two of them had a look of understanding, staying out of the matter. This way, no matter what the outcome was, the Zhou family would not suffer any losses. Qin Chuan and Wang Jian did not continue to stay. Looking at the two of them gradually disappearing, Zhou Tian's face suddenly smiled. However, the 6 elders behind him were extremely solemn. Patriarch, this matter is a little troublesome. If both sides start a war, I'm afraid we'll be implicated. How could Zhou Tian not know the worries of the 6 elders? It's fine. The 6 of you remember, our Zhou family doesn't know anything. Don't interfere in anything. I'm very curious to see how both sides will develop. In the courtyard, Brother Black Wolf, Wang Jian and Qin Chuan will definitely not let this matter rest. If nothing goes wrong, the two of them will definitely deal with you. So what? Looking at the indifferent face of his brother Black Wolf, Zhou Hao was dumbfounded. Could it be that Brother Black Wolf did not care about the two great families at all? However, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. If Big Brother He Lang placed the two great families in his eyes, Big Brother He Lang wouldn't have acted like that just now. As for Zhou Hao, he chose to believe Big Brother He Lang 100% in his heart. Brother Zhou, although your cultivation has reached the heavenly God realm, it's extremely difficult for you to progress further. Therefore, you have to work harder and put in more effort than others. Brother Black Wolf, don't worry. I'll work harder. Zhou Hao was very clear that this opportunity did not come easily. If he missed it, it would be almost impossible for him to get such an opportunity again in the future. Next, Zhou Hao cultivated his cultivation method and martial technique, while Longao was still recovering from his injuries. Not only that, but he was also continuously cultivating the reincarnation heavenly eye. After the previous few transformations, spatial teleportation, and reincarnation doppelgangers, there was no doubt that the reincarnation heavenly eye from the 4th transformation was definitely not to be underestimated. Even so, Longao was still a little eager to try out the power of the reincarnation heavenly eye. However, with his current injuries, it was impossible for him to battle a God Emperor martial artist, and it was also impossible for him to battle a God Venerable. Just like this, Longao found a God Emperor level divine beast and directly opened his reincarnation heavenly eye. Knowing was one thing, experiencing it personally was another. As soon as the reincarnation heavenly eye was opened, Longao's eyes suddenly shot out 2 rays of black light, directly hitting the divine beast. The divine beast was unharmed, but it fell to the ground and died. However, the reincarnation heavenly eye directly shattered the divine beast's divine soul. What kind of concept was that? Not only that, with the help of the reincarnation heavenly eye, Longao could even use some very strange divine powers. If he did not personally possess such a heavenly eye, Longao would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. In Blackwater City, Zhou Hao's popularity still did not diminish. Everywhere one could hear about the Black Wolf and Zhou Hao, there was a lot of discussion. It could be said that the trash that no one paid attention to before had now become the most popular person in Blackwater City. Moreover, everyone was speculating about the origin of the mysterious black wolf who helped Zhou Hao. Chapter 15-17. Everything was calm. The Wang family and Qin family did not make a move as expected. Before a storm, there would always be a period of calm. Qin family. In the backyard, in the pavilion, Qin Chuan and Wang Jian sat facing each other. Both of their faces were solemn. Even with the strength of the two families, they were unable to find out Black Wolf's true identity. After all, there were only so many second-rate forces in the Sky Martial continent. The two of them were certain that Black Wolf was not from the 10-direction tripod. Brother Qin, we are unable to confirm Black Wolf's identity. Are we just going to wait and do nothing? Black Wolf is fearless. I'm afraid he has something to rely on. How could Wang Jian not know what Qin Chuan meant? After thinking for a while, Wang Jian said, Brother Qin, if we don't make a move, once Black Wolf leaves Blackwater City, it will not be easy for us to find him. Brother Wang means? Let's end this quickly. Wang Jian smiled and continued. Brother Qin, if we are fast enough and stealthy enough, even if this person has a background, we will be able to do it without anyone knowing. Wang Jian seemed to be impatient and wanted to make a move immediately. In the end, Qin Chuan nodded in agreement. Qin Chuan and Wang Jian did not make a move personally. In their opinion, a small black wolf would not be able to cause much trouble. Because of this, the two of them chose a Divine King martial artist each. With two Divine King martial artists joining forces to deal with Longao, it was more than enough for the two of them. Night. It was exceptionally quiet. The entire Blackwater City was bustling, especially the city center. People were coming and going as if it was daytime. The Zhou family was located not far from the city center. However, the Zhou family was not noisy. Instead, it was unusually quiet. Not only the Zhou family, but all the families in Blackwater City were the same. Zhou family, in a dilapidated courtyard. According to Zhou Hao's current situation, the Zhou family should change a place for him. Furthermore, there was still Longao. However, whether it was Longao or Zhou Hao, the two of them did not agree to change a place. Furthermore, they did not allow the Zhou family to rebuild the courtyard. This made everyone in the Zhou family depressed. There was only Longao in the courtyard. Zhou Hao's cultivation method and martial skills seemed to have reached a bottleneck. Because of this, every night, Zhou Hao would leave the Zhou clan and head deep into the mountains to cultivate for 6 hours. The reincarnation heavenly eye could see through everything. Longao opened his reincarnation heavenly eye and looked at the endless void in front of him. His mind was clear. Right at this moment. Since you're here, please show yourself. 2 black figures flashed, and in the next second, 2 black-robed men appeared in front of Longao. They were the 2 god kings sent by the Wang clan and Qin clan. The 2 of them didn't hide anything as they sneered. Black Wolf, hand over the method to improve and we can spare your life. Otherwise, this time next year will be the anniversary of your death. He wasn't surprised at all. That was because Longao had already predicted that the Wang clan and Qin clan would not let this matter rest. However, Longao had not expected them to arrive this quickly. In fact, they might not even make it through the night. 2 god king martial artists. The Wang clan and Qin clan had really thought highly of him. 2 god kings. In Blackwater City, they were probably people who could cause a tremor with just a stomp of their feet. However, Longao did not care about the 2 of them at all. If they were God Emperor martial artists, he might be wary of them. After all, dealing with God Emperors wasn't an easy task. If they were God Kings, there was no need for Long Chang. He alone was more than enough to deal with them. What if I don't hand it over? Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha! Hearing these words, the two of them burst out laughing maniacally as though they had just heard the funniest joke in the world. In the eyes of the two of them, a puny little goddamn martial artist was just an ant-like existence. The two of them looked at each other, and could see the contempt in each other's eyes. They asked, "Do you want to do it, or should I?" "You do it." Chuckling, the god king of the Wang clan sneered coldly. "I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the method to raise your cultivation level and I'll let you go. Otherwise, not only will you die, we'll also search your soul. We'll still be able to get it." Soul search was a martial technique that everyone in the Sky Martial Continent despised. No matter who it was, no one would dare to use it openly. However, in private, most people did not care about such things. After all, one could obtain any information they wanted through a soul search. Longao did not care at all. He looked up at the sky and said indifferently, "One move. One move?" What did that mean? Hearing Heilang's words, the two of them seemed to be in a daze. They had seen arrogant people before, but they had never seen such an arrogant person. If a divine emperor had said this to them, they would have believed it. But if it was just a divine emperor, it was simply a joke, the biggest joke in the world. "Black Wolf, you're arrogant. But I'll let you know the consequences of your arrogance." The two of them sensed the aura coming from Longao. However, Longao did not release his God Dao aura. It was because of this that the two of them did not put him in their eyes. Otherwise, if the two of them knew that this black wolf standing before them was not only not a God Dao martial artist, but a God Dao martial artist, who knew if they would still act the same way. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong. Kill. The God King expert of the Wang clan took a step forward and dashed out. One had to admit that this person was not only strong, his speed was also incomparably fast. However, before the God King expert of the Wang clan could get close to him, Longao, who had not moved all this while, suddenly spoke. Time rewind. A shocking scene happened. The God King of the Wang clan found that his speed had suddenly slowed down. Not only that, Longao still did not make a move. He only activated his reincarnation heavenly eye. Longao's eyes suddenly turned pure black and directly shot out two black rays. The gap between a God King and a God Venerable was too big, not to mention Longao. It was because of this that Longao dared to use his reincarnation heavenly eye without fully recovering from his injuries. A blood-curdling scream was heard. The God King of the Wang clan's divine soul was directly shattered. His eyes became hollow and he directly fell down, colliding heavily with the ground. Behind him, the Qin clan's God King stared blankly at the scene. Until now, he did not expect that Black Wolf could defeat the Wang clan's God King with just one move. What kind of concept was that? Killing a God King in one move without moving at all. The Qin clan's God King had already guessed that the other party was most likely a God Emperor expert, and had either a God Emperor's attack or a martial technique. Otherwise, even a Nirvana realm expert would not be able to do so. After all, he did not feel the slightest bit of aura or domain pressure. The Qin clan's God King knew his own limits. He and the Wang clan's God King were evenly matched. Since the Wang clan's God King was defeated by Black Wolf in one move, even if he made a move, the result would still be the same. Under such circumstances, if he continued to stay, only death would await him. The Qin clan's God King naturally did not want to sacrifice his life in vain. He immediately turned and prepared to leave. However, would Longao give him the chance to leave? Want to leave? Innate divine ability, Dragon Roar. At the same time, the Qin clan's God King's body was already locked down by the space. Under the Qin clan's God King's shocked gaze, Longao's figure suddenly disappeared and appeared in front of the Qin clan's God King in an instant. Weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you leaving now? Just who are you? The Qin clan's God King was terrified. This person's speed was too fast. In his opinion, even the family head might not be able to move this fast. Was this person a Nirvana realm expert? Impossible, This was completely impossible. Just how old was this youth in front of him? To be able to reach the divine Tao, even the supreme divine Tao, was already an impossible matter, let alone being a Nirvana realm expert. There were only a few Nirvana realm experts in the entire Martial Heaven continent. Furthermore, each Nirvana realm expert was a famous existence. He had never heard of such a Nirvana realm expert. It doesn't matter who I am. I've already said that I can kill you all in one move. It's important to know your own limits. Once you become arrogant, there's only one result, death. Don't even think about leaving. Without continuing to talk nonsense, Longao's reincarnation heavenly eye opened. 2 rays of black light shot onto the Qin clan's divine king's body and directly began to attack his divine soul. In a short span of 1 second, the Qin clan's divine king already fell to the ground and could not get up. From then on, in less than a few minutes, the 2 divine kings from the Wang family and the Qin family were killed by Longao. If this matter were to spread out, it would definitely shake the entire Blackwater city, especially the Wang family and the Qin family. They probably would never have thought that the 2 divine kings they sent out would be killed in such a short period of time. Even for superfamilies like the Wang and Qin clans, they couldn't afford to lose god kings. If they had known this would happen, they probably wouldn't have sent their god kings. They would have just been sending their god kings to their deaths. The night was still exceptionally quiet. Longao was the only one in the entire courtyard, and there were also 2 corpses that had already fallen. Croak, croak, croak. Not long after, a black shadow flashed quickly. Zhou Hao had finished cultivating and returned. As soon as he stepped into the courtyard, he didn't even have time to greet Longao when he saw the 2 corpses on the ground. His expression completely changed. Even Zhou Hao had guessed the origins of these 2 corpses. If he wasn't wrong, these 2 corpses were definitely from the Wang and Qin clans. It seemed those 2 clans had been unable to hold back and had attacked Black Wolf. No matter how you put it, the Wang and Qin clans' strength was clear for all to see. As the superfamilies of Blackwater City, they were the absolute overlords. Their strength was not something to be messed around with. If those 2 clans wanted to deal with Black Wolf, then 1 against 2, how would Black Wolf deal with them? Brother Black Wolf, the Wang and Qin clans won't let this go. If they learn of this, they'll probably go all out to deal with you. Why don't you leave Blackwater City for now? No matter how unwilling Zhou Hao was, he had no other choice. Brother Black Wolf's safety was his number 1 priority. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.